or death. Ye shall all be moved, vainglorious. This is protected by the red, the black, and the green, with the key city.
Abracadabra, a la baby professor. All hail funkin' lesson. Sweet tongue grand writer of scrolls. Now behold, let the legend unfold. Born in a cosmos where no time and space do exist. Vibe in the midst of the chaos. Mortals label me as illogical, mythological. They couldn't comprehend when I brought the word. A stick called verb, a black steel nerve. Teaching those actors and actresses who write a couple lines on what black is. Really? Then they label me a sin. When a brother just speaks what's within. I guess I'm blacker than the shadow in the darkest alley that they're always scared to go in. Boo. I wear boots and beads, bags and braids, stick and scroll, rings and shades. Walk in the light of the moon, but I never been a Batman. African, call it black man. Brother extracts the African steps in your movements. Enhance for improvements. Grand funk, I knew a home for the phrase. Funk and lesson, the pathway.
Ready or not, here we come. Getting down on the one which we believe in. Can I get it on my good foot? On.
Let me tell you about blackness. Grits and cornbread, how can you act this? I exist on a plane where the jar is my brain. I'm living to retrieve cells. Antenna my stick. Picture bigger, native liquor figure. The pull of the trigger goes zoom, not boom. Not a bunch of sissies, but saviors braver. The red, black, and green is just so much more than red, black, and green. You ask what I mean, but yet the sundown shades and life's a dream. Watch too late, oops, upside your head. You drop through abyss like lead. Where you going? What's your speed? What's your pleasure? What's your need? Trees and branches, roots and seeds. Forwards, backwards, many degrees. Questions, answers, what's the sum? We have come.
Out of the darkness in panther skin comes doctors, driving pink caddies, bearing the remedy to your existence. Yes, it gets blacker with a Nat Turner lick. Martin, Adam, Malcolm, Huey, there's a party at the crossroads.
Black.
I return from the stone crib, bringing verbal milk, a stool and a bib. Be filled of the black sap from the tri-womb. It flows freely on a tune. Wheat bread, tasty jam. Come take a stroke to the rhythm of the grand. Verbalizer coming from the temple of void. Crown for my hat, man for my boy. Onward ride as I talk a raw. Converse with Horus, create with tar. I ride to Jeb, to roar with bass. Aton to Mu as I ride the raft. Proof of the world I sit, cross-legged. Right over left, drums of dance to drums of war. Who knows the score? Speak no more. Who watches down with the eyes of black to the east blackwards?
That we ain't night riders. That we ain't night riders.
Welcome to the Night Riders Squadcast live stream. You are now rolling with the Night Riders.
In the building, or as I should say, in the hut once again. Salute to everybody in the building. Yeah, you guys are in here early. Salute to Ken Sing Red. Salute, bro. Salute to Luke Conyer. Everybody else in the building. Yeah, we're going to get it in tonight. Yeah, those of you who may recognize the intro theme song for tonight, that is Coming to America. And in this instance, we're going to Africa, actually. We're going to be discussing something that we have noticed has kind of gone under the radar, and that is these African women who tend to, as I mentioned before, have a cottage industry in terms of how they are tapping into the anti-American black male propaganda. And we're going to point out a few things tonight that you guys probably have never seen. And it's going to be pretty eye-opening. So definitely sit tight, buckle up, because it's going to be a bumpy ride. But at any rate, I would like to welcome everyone to another exciting episode of the Night Riders Squadcast. And boy, do we have a show for you tonight. Yeah, but you know what? We got to get past a few things that are of the utmost importance that I need to bring your attention to before we get into this hot fire that we're going to be spitting tonight. Now, those of you who may be aware, we have made it very clear on this channel that over here from this particular broadcast, this particular microphone is where the phrase "Diddy do it" was invented. Now, far be it from me to try to gatekeep every single little thing that we do. I'm not that type of person. I do like the fact that some of the things that we say can reverberate around the internet. And, the "Diddy do it" phrase is not the first thing. Those of you who have been rocking with us for a while, you can kind of trace back some of the things that you may have heard here first. And then, it gets its traction. Fair enough. However, it has been brought to our attention that Mr. 50 Cent, and it is official that he has sold his docuseries by the name of, quote, "Diddy Do It" to Netflix. And congratulations to that brother. We are not haters over here. We are congratulators. We appreciate the fact that something, or at least with regard to the title that we came up with, was something he felt worthy enough to name his docuseries. However, our people will be in touch with his people, or Netflix, as it were, because we just want to kind of put the feelers out and see how that would work. Because, like I said before, when we create things, we don't necessarily know how they're going to be received. So I didn't initially even understand how big that phrase had become until I started noticing other people using that title, because that wasn't even actually the full title. The full title was, quote, Diddy do it, and I decided to do the wordplay and just add Diddy's name there. Diddy do it, and then the other part was, or did black men do it? And the reason why I even came up with that title was because I noticed the same week that that happened, because we actually made that video the first week that Cassie came out with the lawsuit back in November of last year. And so when we put that out there, it was in response to all these different videos that were coming out trying to shoehorn black men into it, as if what Diddy did was, like black men in general were responsible for it. So I felt the need to make that broadcast, and I do recommend you guys go check it out if you have not already. But that's kind of where that started. And then before I knew it, there were larger YouTubers who like to, come and ear hustle. One in particular took that title, as I actually showed Black Ram how when we posted it, there was no one else who had that title, and this particular YouTuber um, picked it up, put it in their video, and then from there it was another larger YouTuber. They probably got it from him, and then voila, there you go. So that's kind of how it ballooned. And again, we're not haters over here. We just want to get the proper credit and whatever particular resources that may be available. And, like I said, we're gonna have some people reach out and just see, what's what, or at the very least, it's an official acknowledgement, because we do have our forensic paperwork just to let it be known that that phrase originated here, and we do own the domains of the various iterations of that name, just because like I said, it wasn't until later that I realized how much of a phenomenon it had become. So then we started making moves in that regard, as much as we could be, but the horse had already left the barn, so to speak. But anyway, we did want to point that out because, like I said, I am the sole inventor of that phrase, and I'm the only one that can make that claim with receipts. You have not seen anyone else, at least I have not, who have claimed to have started that phrase. It's just one of those things that looks like it just showed up on the internet somewhere, right? But over here, we kind of keep track of certain things, and so that's why I'm the one that you may only hear that's claiming that. And if anybody else claims it, then I'll put my my paperwork up against theirs, and we'll see who actually came up with it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We need to just make sure that all of us are, laying claim to the things that we create, not to be, as I said, just greedy or gatekeepers or whatever, but it's just to be fair, right? So we want to make sure that we are aware of things like that. Now, with regard to tonight's show, this rabbit hole is deeper and worse than we thought with regard to African women's dysfunction. I was pretty much shocked at some of the things that I discovered during the quest of, looking at this with a closer microscope, because you kind of hear things, right? And then most of us, we're just going about our business. We're just taking care of the things that are of specific interest to us and so forth. So it wasn't until I realized this cottage industry of these African women going around pretty much creating these narratives, tapping into what I like to call the anti-black. Shout out to Iman Perry. And it wasn't until I realized what they were doing that close to look, because as I said, this particular subject has kind of been brewing for a while. Those of you who've been rocking with us at least since last year, you may recall that I did kind of touch on this, just with the whole Rhoda Osman, i.e. the Brick Broad, when she first came out. I kind of started looking at that particular, the continental African women, and just, I started noticing some things, right? So that's pretty much what got me on their bumper to begin with, because I started seeing all of this different rhetoric coming out, and they were echoing the B dubs in terms of some of what they were saying. But little did I know that it's crazy. And you're going to see tonight, I'm going to point out some stuff that I pretty much can guarantee you probably never heard with regard to the African women. But again, they decided to kind of come at us first, and they're going to have to get this clap back. It's just as simple as that. As I said, I specifically didn't have a particular issue with continental African women. I've dealt with some. I do find continental African women attractive, the ones that are. But ironically, the ones that are out here with the most mouths seem to be the unattractive ones for some damn reason. But anyway, so that's kind of where we're at with that. They kind of decided to tap into that anti-black male propaganda machine, come out with lies against us. So we're going to use the truth against them. All's fair, right? So we're going to go ahead and point out some things tonight. Now, the other thing I want to point out before we start getting into this deep is that besides potential money, clout, attention, African women are piling on to the black male propaganda to, or anti-black male propaganda, as it were, to project the issues that they have with African men onto us. So, and it's just like what the B Dubs do regarding the thug culture or the criminal class, as I like to call them. So what they're doing in effect is they're taking their issues with their own domestic men, and what they're doing is they're creating these narratives to basically project onto us. Shout out to Shadow Zulu. Glad you're in the building, bro. Good to see you. So what they're doing is they're taking the issues that they have with their own men, and then they're trying to join with the B Dub in some kind of perverse sisterhood, right? But what they're doing is they're negating the issues that they're having with their own African men. They're not calling them out because they know, as we've pointed out in the past, on this, the shows that we've done regarding this subject before, is that they're not calling them out because they know they're going to get hands and feet put on them if they do. And so what they're going to do is kind of get their grievances off their chest at our expense. So that's what they've been doing. And they kind of joined in, like I said, this perverse sisterhood that they got with the American black women, and they're kind of forming up this raggedy Voltron that they're trying to form. And then, in effect, is they get to dump all of the issues that they're having domestically and try to make it seem as though that they're having an issue with us, when a lot of these women probably have not even really dealt with an American black man, to be honest. So that's kind of the issue in terms of the underlying reasons that they're doing this. Now, where does that leave us? Well, that leaves you two choices. Either you could just kind of pretend like you don't see it, like a lot of guys, they're ignorant. They'll sit up there and keep saying things like, oh, well, African women are better. Brothers, go to Africa and this, that, and the third. Now, I'm not saying that you can't go there and find traditional women and so forth, but the problem is a lot of these African women are tapped into the West, and they have some of the same type of mentality. And what these brothers are doing, and this is one of the other reasons that we're doing these broadcasts, is because we want you guys, those of you who might see, I'm sure a lot of you guys in the building right now, and those of you who have already subscribed to us, you're not necessarily in this category, but for the guys who like to go and just throw blanket compliments out and say, yeah, African women are better and this and that, what we're saying that you should do going forward is be very specific. Instead of just saying African women, talk about the specific country that you're referring to, talk about the specific tribe even, or just talk about that specific woman. Because what's happening is when you come out here talking about African women in glowing terms, then they're using that as an occasion to dish you, because what they're trying to say is, well, you think you're going to come over here, you're going to have to pay a dowry, you can't get it for free, you got to do this, see, they're making all these crazy demands, and they're trying to make it seem as though a lot of American black men are going over there checking for them, when in fact a lot of the guys who say that they want to go to Africa, they're looking at, as I pointed out before, the miscegenation zones, such as in South Africa, the colored communities, or Ethiopia, or North Africa, places like that. But you get these wildebeests, these very unattractive, very attitude-having, masculine even type women who have been westernized because they've either been to Europe, they've been to America, and what they're doing is they're taking that as an occasion to try to throw shots by saying, well, you got to do all of these different things to get us, right? So that's what they're doing. And so the pushback that we have to give these women is to say, no, we ain't putting all you in no positive category. Because what I want you guys to understand is, just like how you would criticize them simps for saying black women is God and all this. See, a lot of that comes from the men and how they want to elevate continental African women, right? Because they'll go back in time and they'll talk about the African queens and things like that. So you don't want to be a part of that. You do not want to be the type of guy who's giving undue praise to these women. And I noticed that a lot of guys, when they're talking about African women, what they're doing is they're lumping them all into this positive group. And it's not that at all, bro. You got to make sure that you're being specific, just like you go anywhere else, right? Now, in some cultures, you might be able to do that a little better than others. Like if you're dealing with women from certain cultures where traditionally, if they're being cultivated as wives and things like that. But those are specific countries, right? But when it comes to Africa, that's a continent. And you have a lot of different countries, over 50, and some are better than others. And a lot of the guys, when they're making these comments, they're not making distinctions, right? You may have, and I think one of the brothers pointed out before, like you'll have, places like Kenya, Nigeria, Uganda, and places like that. They are very, very much pro the white man. And again, I'm not saying that that's not within their right if that's who they want to deal with. But what they'll do is put all these foreigners on this pedestal while trying to demonize the image of black men. So that's the bottom line in terms of what it is that we need to do to make sure that we're not falling into that trap. So without any further ado, we're gonna go in tonight because, like I said, we're gonna kind of do a slow roast on this one. We're gonna start out kind of showing some of the things that they're saying as we've been doing, and like I said, we've been making some phenomenal shows. And shout out to all you guys for participating. If any of you guys want to hop on the panel a little bit later, let me know. If you want to drop some heat, that's cool. We'll bring you up, but we definitely got enough heat either way it goes. So we're gonna definitely let you know to buckle up because it's gonna get crazy. But let's get it cracking with a few clips here that we're gonna go in and dissect. You know how we do over here. And so the first thing we're gonna do is just kind of get back to some of the things that these women were saying, right? And we're gonna play a few of these clips to just kind of set the tone and show you how reckless a lot of these women are talking and the whole reason why we got to give some clapback. So let me go ahead and cue up this first one right here.
And I just had this thought, like,
so this is kind of refresher, but some of these women you've not seen, some of them you may have, and we're just going to kind of give you that refresher. But let me go ahead and see what she got to say. Hold on.
We already know about, but they want the women that they're with to remain foreign. So they're not actually intending to bring the women back to the United States because they feel like the women in the United States are kind of like tarnished goods. And I want you to watch this video, okay?
So there's this new movement called Passport Boys. It's when guys...
Well, I was unable to group of people.
So let me get to... Yeah, I think we played her before, the one with this kind of raggedy wig right here. We'll play a little bit of what she got to say, and then we're going to get into some other ones. Hold on.
As men, they are still taught like you need to be the head of the house. In America, you have a culture of men who want 50-50. They don't want to fully provide. They want to know what to bring on the table. And they say cooking and cleaning is not enough, but you still have to do it because you are a woman. What else are you bringing to the table? And secondly, the way that you guys have treated your women for generations and generations is what has created masculine women.
Okay, so again, we've kind of already dissected this, but I just wanted to refresh you guys to the fact that she's just over here, talking crazy. She's not dealing with the historic context of what happened. See, just like when they use that terminology that black men wanted 50-50, which is a complete fraud, it was not the men who decided that they wanted 50-50. It was the women through the first feminist movement and the second wave of feminism. And like I said, when you're asking for equality, that's essentially 50-50, right? So if the men just say, okay, well, if you want to do 50-50, then let's do 50-50. That means you're paying for everything as well, because you want to get out into the workplace. You want to occupy jobs that could be going to men, and therefore it's suppressing the income of men and so forth, because they are in these positions that traditionally, maybe men would have had those jobs, and that would have been, giving them enough to raise their family, and then the women could have stayed home, but they didn't want to do that, so they wanted to enter into the workforce among other things. So okay, fine. Then a lot of the guys are saying, yeah, let's do it 50-50 since you are now making money. That's how this happened. But they're trying to frame it as though, specifically when it comes to black men, that somehow the men were being lazy, and they said, well, we don't want to have to burden ourselves with everything that traditionally men have done. So we need you guys to get out there and help us 50-50. And that's a goddamn lie. That's not exactly how that happened. The other thing that she said was, I'm talking about how bad women were treated for generations. Now, let's be very clear. In any type of given interactions with human beings, you're going to have good and bad, right? So it has not been this steady stream of just men abusing women. There have been men who have done the greatest things for women, saved women's lives, provided for women. We all know of instances in our own family. Like I've mentioned before, I've seen my grandfather, father, whatever, provide for my grandmothers and mothers. So this whole notion that somehow all throughout history men have just been terrorizing and demonizing women is ridiculous. And the fact that they're using this hyperbole shows that they don't really have a leg to stand on. And that's the reason why we have to kick back at this propaganda. But let's continue.
It's what has created super independent women where they have to depend on themselves because you don't want to go to work.
No, they have to depend on themselves because that's what they freaking chose. That's what they wanted to do. When you say you want to be equal and you want to get into the workforce and you can do it by your damn self, then that's what comes with that. But you notice they keep complaining about the very thing that they wanted. So yeah, that's what, that's how it works. It's just like if you got a child that's in the house, right? It's your house. You've been working, paying the, keeping the house together. They've been in their room, right? They just been enjoying everything the whole time. And then they don't want to follow your rules. So they say, well, I'll go out and make my own money or whatever. And you say, okay, fine. You give them the opportunity to go make their own money. And you say, well, okay, well, if you're going to stay here, you're going to have to pay half the bills since you're so grown now. And then they start whining and complaining, talking about they just a kid and they want independent. I mean, and they want you to take care of everything. Like, no, you decided that you were equal. You want to make money. You don't want to be on the rules. You want to come and go as you please. You want to be treated like an adult. Okay, here you go. You got to pay half of these bills. And that's that. So that's the double speak that they're doing because they're trying to make it seem as though they're somehow being forced to do things against their will when they were the ones who initiated this to begin with. But let's get a little bit more of her and then we're going to move to the next one.
You cheat on them, you lie on them, and you don't take care of them. And if you Google the internet, search all of the internet and check and see if any...
And this whole thing about, quote, cheating on a woman, listen, traditionally, women understood that just physiologically and by men's nature, there's going to be that possibility that he may have outside adventures. Now, that's not to say that he's not going to take care of home. So that's a whole new mentality as well that comes with that 50-50 because it's traditionally, obviously there was always more leeway that the men had to go out and have, different families that they may have been taken care of as long as they were taking care of home. But as a product of this whole mentality that they've developed, they think that it's just as bad for a man to have another relationship outside of whatever their established situation is compared to them, which is nonsense. It's not the same, right? However, if a man decides that he's going to get married in the Christian way and decides that he's going to make a vow, which I don't know why he would do that, but just say he does that, right? And he says, well, okay, I'm not going to, be with another woman, right? Okay, then that's to me is a different issue because justice comes down to you being a man of integrity. If you are going to make that type of commitment, once again, I don't know why you would do it. That's why I don't subscribe to the Western way of doing it because I understand the origin of all that. But if you're going to do that, then okay, fine. Then that's you just being a man of your word. However, traditionally that wasn't the case, and we all know of instances where men had different relations with women outside of whatever their conventional marriage was. So what they're trying to do is make a false equivalency that somehow it's just as bad when a man has multiple women than with when a woman has multiple men, when biologically it's not even the same. But that's part of that ridiculous feminist mentality that they have, which makes them feel like they're equal to men. And that's part of the problem, because that's why they're breaking up families and leaving men, just because they may have an extramarital situation, instead of them doing what our grandmothers may have done, which is say, well, this man is taking care of home. I don't care what he's doing out there, as long as he's taking care of his family here. That's how a lot of our foremothers thought. And they kept the family together for generations, for 50, 60 years, right? They wasn't bitching and moaning like these women today with all this goddamn entitlement, thinking that they're going to hold down a man by himself. If men were meant to just be held down, the human population wouldn't even be what it is. Men by nature are to, as they say, sow they seed, right? That's what we do. Now, you need to do it responsibly, and I don't think a man should go out and just have random kids that he can't take care of. We ain't talking about that. We're not talking about Pookie and Ray Ray and Thuggo and in criminal class culture. We're not talking about that. We're talking about responsible men. He's taking care of home, and then he may be able to, have the resources to take care of another family as well. That's been traditional. You can go back to biblical times for that. So what these women want to do is go against thousands of years of culture and genetics, just because they goddamn feelings are hurt, and they'll break up a damn family, and that's why the divorce rates are so high. But anyway, let's continue.
Of these countries, look at Brazil, look at South Africa, Nigeria, and find one podcast that is solely dedicated at destroying or talking badly and talking all of this nonsense about how black women are fat, masculine.
Okay, so now she's making this equivalency of talking about where somehow in Africa you don't see those podcasts. Well, guess what? They don't have to do that, because they'll go upside your damn head. And see, that's the difference. See, men in the West, in America, they have to voice their grievances a little bit different, right? They can't just at random go up and pop you upside the head like some of these African countries. So she's making a false equivalency to say that somehow American blacks are the worst because we're making some damn podcasts voicing our grievances, which are well founded, that somehow you're supposed to just shut up and not even expose, what you guys are dealing with. You can't do that. So she's juxtaposing you to the fact that you may not see that as much in these African countries, which is bullshit, because they make podcasts too, talking about their grievances, and they're probably going to be talking about some of the same things that I'm going to point out tonight, as far as the issues that they're having there. But you notice how she's just taking that as an occasion to try to dump on American black men, as if the men in those African countries, I think she mentioned South Africa and another one, that somehow they may be, quote, better because they're not doing it, which is straight garbage. But anyway, let's get it.
And ugly. There is not one podcast that you will find of an African community or Mexico or any third world countries where you go find wives, where wives or women of that nation are being bashed the way that African men bash their women. And then thirdly, African men treat their women like queens. They are not like perfect, but they treat them like queens.
Okay, so again, here we go with that BS. We've already debunked that, right? We've already debunked that, but they're just using all of these fake, fraudulent talking points to make themselves look better than what they are, try to elevate their men at our expense, and they're trying to use the image of the American black man as a dumping ground for the true issues that they're projecting from their men onto the African American men. Yes, salute, Bama Phi Bama. Good to see you. I'm glad you appreciate the broadcast. Appreciate you, bro. But yeah, we just getting heated, bro. So you stick around. It's gonna get crazy. But yeah, let's get some more of this wig wearing wench right here, and then we're gonna move to the next one.
If you go to any of these third world countries to try and find a wife and bring that wife to America, you are going to create the exact same woman that you created here if you don't know how to adopt the behavior of those men.
Okay, so in effect, what she's saying is that somehow, well, inadvertently, she just admitted that it's the culture, because she said, you heard it just came out of her mouth, that if you take the woman from her native country into America, then she's going to turn into the same type of woman. Well, she's absolutely correct, which is why men ain't doing that. So a lot of you guys who may be planning to get out of there, whatever woman you get with, whatever country you decide to go to, you don't have the desire to want to bring them back into that cesspool. Am I right or wrong? I mean, some of you might decide that that's what you want to do. Okay, fine, but it's not recommended because you know that the entire culture is toxic. But she just pretty much said that, but she's still trying to find a way to blame the men, as if the behavior of these women has everything to do with the men, which I've already debunked that, because it was them who decided to join and create feminism, which in the case of the American black woman, she basically joined it. And I pointed out this before on different shows, but I'm on other people's platforms as well, larger platforms. And I believe I was the first one to bring this out, but I'll give you guys a quick synopsis here. When it came to the feminist movement and how it affected black people, there was a particular woman by the name of Michelle Wallace. She wrote, and you guys can look this book up, right? Because like I said, we bring receipts over here. We got documentation that you could actually look up. Do a Google search for a woman by the name of Michelle Wallace. She wrote a book called Black Macho and the Myth of the Superwoman, right? And this particular book was a very anti-black male, anti-black man civil rights movement book, because this was written in the 70s. And this black woman by the name of Michelle Wallace, she was a puppet for one Gloria Steinem, who was known as a CIA operative, and she was one of the ones that helped inject feminism in the black community using meat puppets like this chick by the name of Michelle Wallace. And she wrote that book called Black Macho and the Myth of the Superwoman. You can look this book up. And among other publications where they were demonizing black men left and right, making all kinds of propaganda and false accusations and tarnishing the black male image. And that's what permeated into the black women's, whether it was movies, such as, and then you had the other one like Alice Walker and all these other feminists that will create these books and these magazines, and and later evolved into movies like The Color Purple and all that type of bullshit. And that's where all this came from. But it was all a propaganda machine, and that's all they're doing. Let me get what Kinsey and Red said. And shout out to Bama Fabama. He says, "Do not bring them back here." Exactly. Yeah, he's talking about the women who go to the overseas. Yeah, ain't nobody trying to bring them women back. But anyway, Kinsey and Red says, he said, women all over the world have this same mindset. It doesn't matter where they are. It is a part of female nature to be chaotic. Exactly. Now, the only thing about that, Kinsey and Red, is that within certain cultures, it's a little bit more subdued, but it just manifests itself in a different way. It's probably manifesting the most toxic way in the West, particularly in America. But you're absolutely right. It is a natural thing for women to be a certain way, but it's always been manageable. As long as as long as men are in control and men are at the helm, then those type of feminine inclinations and how they do things could be under control, right? And no one has a problem with women being women. Let's be very clear about that, because I hate when these women come out here and just try to make somebody a misogynist. A lot of us love femininity. We love women. We love women, when they are being in their true nature. What we don't like is when they're sitting up here adopting all these BS isms like feminism, and then trying to be dominant and trying to be masculine. And then they don't want to be accountable for the bullshit that they find themselves in because of the choices and the decisions that they're making. That's why a lot of us are giving pushback, and a lot of us, and those of us like myself, who have decided that we ain't even gonna deal with that in the West. And what I'm doing as a senior statesman in this thing, an older guy, and a lot of you guys who are following this channel and they're in the chat tonight may be younger than me. So I'm just trying to put you guys up on game and showing you certain aspects of this thing that you may have not seen. Because like I said, I have not seen a lot of people going on these African women the way we've been doing on these shows and the way we're going to do tonight. And that's to help you, because I noticed a lot of you brothers were looking at African women as somehow a lot better than the West. And to some extent, you may be right, but you got to be very specific. And that's what I'm helping you do tonight, is to be able to distinguish. So let's get a little bit more here. Yeah, Kingsley and Red said they just face more backlash depending on where they live. Yeah, exactly. And the backlash is what keeps them in check, right? And the problem with the West is, bro, they don't get no backlash. In fact, it's encouraged. So that's the reason why they're so bad, because female nature is what it is. I don't have a problem with that. It's just like a child nature. You expect a child to be a certain way. So therefore, you have to what? You have discipline. You have to discipline that child. But a child's going to be a child. We've all been children. We've all did dumb shit, right? All of us. We're not above that. That was our nature. When we were a kid, we were doing childish and foolish things. But when we became age of adult, we put away the childish things, and we're adults now. That's just part of the process of being a human being. So when it comes to a woman and her nature, as masculine men, we don't have a problem with a woman's nature. What we want is to have the ability and the authority and the power to regulate it and to check it. And that's what they have taken away from the men in the West. And that's the reason why we're having these problems, or at least you guys that are still there. That's what the problem comes into play. No one's trying to change feminine nature. What they're trying to say is that, okay, well, the men need to have the proper authority to check it so that it doesn't get out of hand. But unfortunately, in the West, it's already been out of hand. But let's continue.
There's a reason these women are the way that they are. You have to look at how their men treat them. There's a reason they are submissive. There's a reason they don't have a problem staying at home and raising kids. There's a reason why they are.
And that reason is that feminism was not as much permeated into your societies as it was in the West. It's a very simple explanation for what she's saying. It is, however, increasing, and that's why they're getting more and more problems, as we're going to point out tonight. So they are getting those problems. So don't get it twisted. Those problems are coming because African women are more and more adopting feminism.
Submissive to their husbands. Most likely, if you go to a country anyway, just looking for a wife because they are better than the wife in your country, you are the problem. You are toxic. And
now, what kind of BS logic is that? So I guess the society, there's no possibility that the society can be messed up, right? There's no possibility that the culture is toxic. It's because you as a man want a better life for yourself and your posterity, and you don't want to reproduce with a bunch of banshees that are going to raise your kids to be a bunch of degenerates going around shooting up the neighborhood and being Boomquisha and Thuggo running crazy. You don't want that for your lineage. So therefore, you're toxic if you're trying to get the hell out of there or trying to figure out a better way to move for yourself as a man. So somehow you the problem, right? You see this BS logic she's using? And what did King Red say? He said it is spreading because of social media. The women in the West just send out the female dog whistle, and the women are getting on code. Exactly. And that's the whole problem. And that's why you're seeing these African women in solidarity with the women in the West to gang up and try to diminish and demonize our image. And that's why we're nipping this in the bud and we're pointing it out, right? Like what we're doing with these broadcasts, because that's like what you just said. They put out the dog whistle already, but then they're answering it. And then they're just kind of piling on and just giving themselves an opportunity to just both try to bash. And you want to talk about bashing, that's truly bashing, because we've actually shown that a lot of what they're saying is BS. And again, it just goes back to that Somalian chick, Rhoda Osman, who came out with that lie, and how comfortable she was lying because she was tapping into that as I call it, a cottage industry where they can just get together and start making up this bullshit and then try to project it onto us. And then King Skin Red said, this is Eve's revenge. She never loved Adam. Oh, you get into a whole nother philosophical thing right there, bro. He said the black woman hated Adam because he couldn't protect her from God. I will never, ever believe or trust him. Okay, so he going biblical with it. Okay, so you know what, bro? I mean, that might be a topic for a whole nother stream. So, keep that in mind, man. Maybe we may have you up on a panel and you can kind of elaborate on that because that's pretty interesting. But anyway, let's continue.
Most likely you are a predator. Even African American women are.
So look at that. See, now they're throwing out these inflammatory accusations, right? Simply because a man is deciding that he wants to pick up and go to another place that may be more conducive to the type of lifestyle he wants to live, then that makes him a quote predator. You see how dangerous this rhetoric is? And that's how they want to put out the image and how they're trying to soil the image of men who are just about their business, standing on purpose and trying to make a better life for themselves. And an essential part of that to a lot of men is making sure they're getting the right women for themselves and for their posterity or their children. and they already have looked at the landscape in the West. They see it's a bunch of garbage. They see this like choosing a needle in a haystack to try to find someone that's compatible with the value systems that they have. So therefore, they're just looking at different places. But these women sitting up here with these raggedy wigs on are trying to demonize these men and call them predators. It's ridiculous. But let me get past her because she's outrageous. I think this ski ball head woman right here, I think we've dealt with her as well. So let's see something else that she got to say, and before we really start going in.
Possibility. Even if you run to the ends of the earth, we have juju, we have the oracles. We'll go to our shrine and invoke your name.
Yeah, we dealt with that before, where this woman was sitting up there talking about they're going to use juju and all of this. And we were asking the question, okay, where's all this juju and woo-woo and whatever the hell you're trying to use on those Chinese guys and the white guys who are going over there knocking up the young girls and then bouncing. They're not even, sticking around to see the body drop. They're out of there. And then these women got the nerve to come out here as it relates to American black men that you're going to get all kind of juju put on you if you try the same thing that these other guys been doing for centuries. It's crazy, bro. And then Charles Zulu says the sorcery chick. Yeah, they all want to talk about this sorcery and juju and all this, but where is it at when it really counts? They can use it. Apparently, like I said before, it only works on black men, I guess, right? Let's continue.
African system always favors the man above the woman. They know that they can easily impregnate a woman and not have to worry about things like child support, and they can also divorce without bothering about things like alimony, especially when that lady is from a poor home. They want the benefits the African.
Yeah, so what she's trying to say is that as it pertains to the quote passport bros, which is a euphemism for American black men, she's trying to say that somehow that's why the men want to go over there, because they could just knock up the women without having to pay child support. Most men are not just trying to knock up a woman to avoid child support. They actually may want a family and a legacy. You do know that, right? But you see how low of a opinion, or how stereotypical they are, where they're just trying to make it seem like a man just gonna go over there and have a baby and just run off, like what the other guys are doing that I mentioned. And we're going to play some more of those clips as well. But she ain't got no kind of smoke or energy for them. But from the guys who are actually doing the exact thing that she's trying to say that American black men are doing, crazy.
Women bring to the home, but what benefits do they themselves offer? I see them online talking about 50-50 and still in the same sentence expect things like submission from the woman, respect, and a whole bunch of things. They expect black women to split bills with them while taking care of the family, while raising the kids, while doing their house chores, cleaning, and a whole lot of things, while they themselves do nothing apart from paying half of the family bills. It's more like they're running from their responsibilities, but they do not seem to understand that it doesn't work that way in Africa. In fact, before you can even marry in certain African tribes, you definitely have to pay things like dowry, and expensive dowries for that matter. So you have to be prepared before you go into things like marriage.
Okay, so again, we've already dissected all of that. We've shown that the dowries were conditional and the women had to be worthy. The dowries were negotiated based on the value. If the woman was not already married 2 or 3 times or had a bunch of kids, or if she was a virgin, things like that. Those types of things that a lot of these women don't even fit in the first place. But they want to come out of their mouth talking about what all you got to pay and so forth, and many of them don't even live up to deserving a dowry. But a man won't even have a problem with that as long as the woman is cultivated in the right way. A lot of us wouldn't have a problem with that. The problem that comes into play is that what she's trying to say is that somehow the men don't want to be responsible for the right type of women. See, that's the part they're leaving out. The reason why a lot of the men are treating the women the way they're treating them in the West is because that's what those women are bringing to the table. They are these women who've been around the block, busted down 15 ways from Sunday. And so they're not going to get those rings. They're not going to get a guy who's going to commit to them. They may smash and dash or what have you, but they're not going to be dealing with that type of woman. Why? Because she's already been around the block 15 times or more. So that's the point that they don't get. And they're just trying to make it seem as though the men just want to not take care of their responsibilities. And it's crazy. But let's get past her because I want to get into some of this other stuff because this is just a refresher because we've already dealt with them before, and I already pointed out this one right here. She got the nerve to be talking, and she was one of the ones that was trying to accuse guys of being a predator as if they're coming over here to mess with her. You got to be kidding me.
Specifically choosing those countries. Very interesting.
African women are the best.
And this guy right here is one of those guys who I was talking about earlier, who they don't have enough nuance or they're not being specific enough. He's just getting out here being ignorant, saying African women are the best option when he's not being specific. He needs to talk about what particular country, what particular culture, what particular tribe, things like that. Because the moment you say something like that, you're going to get all these banshees rolling out of the woodwork talking crazy, and that's what's been happening. And he said these are the African divestors. They are attacking American black men, but they don't want any black men. Yeah, so I would imagine that. But what they're doing is they know they're tapping into that that ecosystem where the American black women are going to assist the girl. I'm like, yeah, girl, yeah, and that's kind of validating them and demonizing the passport bros because that's what they want to do. Because they don't like the fact that you guys are looking to exercise your option to go seek greener pastures. So you'll have a situation where if the foreign women are saying negative things about you, then that validates them. You see what I'm saying? And then unfortunately, you got guys out here like him who he's just giving this broad support or praise to African women as a whole. And like you said, King Sing Red, those African divestor chicks who are the original divestors, they are going to tap into a guy like this and they're going to use it to diss you guys. And that's why I'm saying, so for him and guys like him, do not just go out here, blanket statements talking about African women or this, that, and the third, because you ain't putting enough specificity in it. Just like in America, you don't want to just say, oh, American women are this, that, or whatever. You want to start being specific with your language, because that gives us a better gauge in terms of who's who. And that's for you guys who may want to go to Africa. Brothers need to get more specific about where you can go. What type of women are what? Like if they say, well, in this particular country, the women are kind of a little bit more westernized, right? But over here, they're still more traditional, or in this particular village, then that's helpful. But it's not helpful for a guy like him to come out here talking about African women are the best option, because the only thing that does is create what we're seeing here with these women talking crazy. So let's get it.
Options.
Well, I got news flash for you guys.
Yeah, we already dealt with her before too, but yeah, we're gonna get into let me see if there's anybody else. Yeah, let me show you this raggedy wig right here. Shadow Zulu says these African females keep talking about dowry. Dowry is only for virgins. Yep. Some think something as being a wife, or same thing as being a wife. Only a virgin can be a wife. A non-virgin woman can only be a concubine. Body bag. Thank you so much, bro, for saying that. That's what a lot of people miss. They don't get it. That's traditionally what it is. Now, they may have amendments in this situation where a woman can still be married. If a man chooses to marry a woman that's been, with another man before, he could choose to do that, but it's the discretion of the man. And he does not have to pay a dowry, or if he does, it's very much reduced, right? He ain't paying full price. It's just like you ain't going on a freaking car lot paying new car prices for a used car. You ain't going to do that, right? You ain't going to do that when it comes to this dowry situation either. But they want to leave all that nuance out. All they want to do is talk about, well, you got to pay a dowry. And like all of these women are worthy of a dowry. It don't even work like that, right? But that was an excellent point, bro. I'm glad you mentioned that. But let's get it.
You're going to have to pay a dowry. My daughters?
Your daughters, well, as long as your daughters ain't a freaking whore, like a lot of them, then they may be able to get a dowry. And but based on their mother and what we're seeing, I'm not quite sure if they're going to be the type of women who will be cultivated to even deserve one. But that's neither here nor there. But let's get it.
Do you guys not know that you have to pay a dowry for us? And then on top of that...
Now, gentlemen in the chat, I mean, will you pay a dowry for that? I'm just asking.
We got to understand where you come from, your family come from. So how you expect to come out there, you want to get married to an African woman, and you yourself didn't have a father, so you not knowing how to treat yourself. And then you want to talk about baggage of your American women, your American African American women, but you sit in your so-called throne, and maybe you done had 50 million women, and then you want to come to us, our men.
And you see how stupid that was? She talking about how much women the man has. Look, men don't have body counts, lady. Okay? Let's put that on the board right now. There's no such thing when it comes to a man's body count being a thing, right? That's the reason why biologically men could have children well into our 70s and freaking 80s, right? Our body does not suffer the wear and tear that you guys do, right? We're built different. But you see how stupid that mentality is, how they try to make these false equivalencies, because we'll talk about their body count and how it does matter, but then they'll turn around, try to flip the script. Well, you didn't have 50 women. Who gives a damn? So what? That ain't got nothing to do with you. That does not preclude, as long as that man was being responsible, he didn't have kids everywhere, or he wasn't just raw dogging every damn streetwalker out there to where he caught some type of disease. If he was being responsible, strapping it up or whatever, and he didn't have kids everywhere, then that doesn't matter. What does matter is you, because it's a biological, physiological, and spiritual fact that women with high body counts, it has a deleterious effect on them. And it's like I've said before, even when it comes to trauma, right? When men go through things, when we go through things in life, it makes us stronger. It makes us tough. It gives us experience. It gives us wisdom, right? A man who has been through some things becomes better. A woman who goes through things becomes scarred. Women are more emotional and they internalize traumatic experiences. You don't want a woman that's experienced, bro. A lot of these simp Negroes come out here talking about, oh, they like women with experience. What do you want a woman with a lot of experience for? As a man, you should want to give her her first experiences. You should be the one to be the first one to take her to a certain place, or to give her certain things for the first time. You don't want a woman that's been around so many different types of dudes, and she's been able to go on her first boat trip with a guy, or whatever the case is, right? Whatever it is that you like to do with your woman, you need to get you a woman that would be the first time she's doing that. Experience on a woman is a bad thing, because either they get jaded or they get scarred and they get bitter. And that's where a lot of these women in the West is. And because of feminism and because they wanted that sexual liberation, they went out and got it. They got ran through. They're used up. They're bitter. They're disgusting. And a lot of guys don't want to wife that up. And then now there's a problem. And then they want to try to demonize those same men for having standards. It's crazy. And Shadow Zulu says, we don't want a double dick clutcher. Exactly. But they don't seem to be able to understand that, because they got there in this mentality that somehow there's some type of equivalency here, and there's not, nor has there ever been. But at least our foremothers understood that. That's the difference. It's always been the fact that men didn't want, like you said, the double D clutchers. Men never wanted that, but the women of old understood that. These women don't.
They're very hardworking men. They haven't had 50 million women underneath their belts. They don't rap about beaches and stuff like that.
And we already debunked that. So I think she's trying to once again play up African men, as if African men ain't out there not only creating music like that. And there's some rappers. I think Iman Perry pointed out to me there was a rapper by the name of Akinelli, which I am familiar with. He said he was African. I didn't even know that, and he made some of the most derogatory songs against women I've heard. He's right up there with Too Short, if not worse. If you want to go there. But Too Short got some jams, so we know we used to pump that back in the day. But anyway, but the point is she's just projecting, so it's all BS. Let's get past some of this. Let me see what else we got.
Because they believe that these other women that they are traveling all the way to other countries to look for are going to make better wives. So I just think.
So again, all they're doing is just trying to project this false narrative. So let me see what this one is saying right here. I don't think we touched on her before, so let's see what she's talking about.
They take on the responsibility for not only the woman, but the children and even sometimes the extended family. So if you want our family stronger in America, black men in America should know their place and the responsibility and stand up for their.
Hey, don't you guys just love how these women can always tell a grown man about his place? Don't you guys just love that they always seem to know how to tell a man what his place is, but I'd be goddamn if they know what their place is. You ever notice that? They always talking about how you got to be a man, you need to do this. Well, how are you so expert on what a man is supposed to do, but you have no idea what a woman's supposed to do? It's astonishing to me that they can sit up here every 5 minutes be talking about what a man should and shouldn't do, but they don't seem to have that type of insight or quote intuition in terms of what it takes to be a woman. It's very strange to me.
Their families and their women, then they wouldn't have to run to other cultures who already have those standards in place. See, you can't go to Africa and think you're going to get one of their women and not provide. So instead of.
Now, again, who other than those dudes that we've pointed out before, such as the Mike Olivers of the world, who went over to Kenya, the guy from Italy who went over to Kenya and basically gave about 50 or more of those women HIV because he was raw dogging them. Yeah, what about those type of guys, right? Because I don't even see the equivalent of that with a man from America, specifically a black man from America. I don't know of any instance of one of a black man from America doing that. So why all the lecturing about responsibility and not those other men who are showing the height of irresponsibility? It's just very fascinating to me.
Going to Africa and trying to get a woman and creating a culture that already exists as if you're part of that culture and you're not. You're just stepping into a society that already has their standards. Create those same standards and allow our communities here in America to.
Well, guess what? When black men did that, when they were doing it pre the civil rights movement, during and post the civil rights movement, even up to and including people in contemporary times like the Detroit 300, among others, who were trying to set standards and organize the community, then guess who was in the way? Guess who was always bitching and moaning about them going in, being too rough and all that? It was other black women. Just like I pointed out before, from my hometown, a guy by the name of Tyrone Muhammad, who went in to try to regulate those Korean nail shops or whatever they were when they were going upside those black women's head, and he was trying to be that quote protector that you guys are always screaming and crying about. And then what happened? He went in there trying to show some force, knocked out one of the windows or whatever, told them that they can't be putting hands on the black women. The next day the place was boarded and them women was in there in mass, back in those chairs, didn't support the guy at all. So that's just one instance, but we have many. So they always talking about what's not being done, but when those guys who still are trying to do it, because a lot of you guys I know have already checked out. So what we're doing is just kind of vindicating these decisions and going in and looking at this objectively. That's the reason why we're doing this. Because a lot of you, like I said, you already know what you're gonna do. You ain't even trying to deal with that BS no more. But what we want to do is make sure we don't have our image demonized. That's the issue, and that's the reason why I'm producing these types of broadcasts. And King C and Red said, "Sounds like the African men don't want them either, so they have to piss on us to encourage their men to take them." Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're gonna get into some stuff deep tonight because, like I said, I'm just now setting the stage by showing what these women are saying, because the type of heat that I'm about to put on them, you're gonna be like, damn. So we're just showing how they actually deserve this heat that's gonna be coming onto them as we start progressing through this. But let's get it.
To thrive by being the head of the community, being the head of the family, being the leadership and the guider that's going to take our communities into another direction.
You mean the direction that you guys have ran it into the ground with? You mean that? You mean like when the men were the head of the household and we didn't have half of these problems, like when our grandfathers and fathers were the head of the household, but you guys didn't want that? You wanted equality? You mean going back to the way it was before you guys decided to change it? Is that what you're talking about? And again, don't you just love how they want to have this revisionist history and they want to act like they're inventing the damn wheel by talking about, oh, well, you guys need to be the head of the household, you need to do this. Well, that's precisely what our forefathers were doing. Yeah, they were. Some of us, they really can't do this BS with because we've seen it in our own family. I know, like I said, I may be older than a lot of you guys listening to me, but I literally saw that in my family. Some of you guys, maybe you didn't know your grandparents or what have you. I did. I knew, and I just didn't know my grandparents on both sides. I knew on my maternal side, I knew my great grandmother, and I knew of her father, which was my great great grandfather. And I told a story about how he died in a coal mine and he was still providing for his family, working that type of job. And even when he passed away, he left her something. And that was his only child. And that helped her to when she got old enough to when she decided to build up her family. But it came from a lineage. Like I said, I can go back just my own personal knowledge. I know of the great men that were in my family. So when they sit up here and they try to say all this garbage and they're acting like they're saying something new, it's really arrogant and ignorant. And that's why we got to start pushing back and making sure they just can't come out here with their little BS talking points, without us, really putting it to them the way we need to. But let's get some more.
We've known in the last 20 years it's declined, but why has it declined?
Well, it's been more than 20 years. It's been probably closer to 50, right? Because we've also pointed out about the Great Society, Lyndon Baines Johnson, when they started the welfare program, and how a lot of brothers have pointed out that a lot of those women, they chose to get on the government dole. They chose public housing. They chose a lot of the free money. And to be clear, there were some men that were in on it too. They were, that's why you would have situations where some of the men, they would still be there though. They didn't just leave their families. They would come through and they knew when those caseworkers were coming through and they would hide the men's shoes, hide the men's suits. But a lot of the men were still there with their families, even in public housing, right? That's where you had shows like Good Times that was set in Chicago, where I'm from, in the Cabrini Green and all of that. And there's also a movie that you guys should check out called Claudine, I believe, with Diane Carroll and James Earl Jones. And in that movie, they demonstrated how a lot of the Black men back then, they were still trying to be with their families. They wanted the women to still take advantage of the free money, essentially, but they were still kind of there, and they would, they would leave before the caseworkers and all that would come. So you had that going on too. But then later on, when the women decided that they could be strong and independent and they didn't need no man because they were getting this money, that's when they were starting to kick the dudes out the house, talking about, they didn't need them. And a lot of the times that's what happened. Initially it may have been some type of collusion between the men and the women, which I felt, I feel like the men shouldn't have done that to the extent it was done. But later on, it was certainly the women who decided that they could be strong and independent by themselves. And because they were getting paid to have these children out of wedlock, that's when their values in terms of the type of men they were letting impregnate them went down the toilet. That's what happened, because that's why you had the emergence of the thug culture and these women choosing the criminal class, the worst class of men to get impregnated by. Because in the past, our grandmothers, they could not choose the worst type of men to breed with, because that was the difference between life and death. They would starve if they chose a man who was not going to provide for them. But once the government came in, then all of a sudden these women can make all the bad choices and they could just get knocked up by any dude that they wanted to. And that's what happened. But let's get it.
Because the Black man does not know his own culture here. He rather run off to another culture.
No, the men know the culture precisely, and they don't want a part of it because that's the culture you created. That's the baby mama culture. Yeah, they know the culture very well, and it's not the culture they created. So they want to go somewhere where other men have created a culture that's more in line with the culture that their forefathers had, that's more in tune with their values, and that's where they're going. But she's up there talking about, well, he don't know his culture. Yeah, they do. They know the culture, and they know they don't want any parts of it, and that's why they're going seeking somewhere, just like they say, water seeks its own level, right?
And try to feed off something that already exists. Stop.
How are they trying to feed off of something when they're going in, and in some cases they are paying those dowries, they are supporting these women. They are contributing to the culture. But you see how these women have such a negative viewpoint, and they always think that you guys are going somewhere to leech off of something when they're the biggest leeches out there. So once again, it goes down to that projection.
Being weak. See, it's easy for you to go there and step into their culture. It's a little more difficult for you to remain here and clean up.
Yeah, salute to Samson in the building. Nice name, bro. Thank you. Yeah, we over here gonna. Yeah, thank you for joining. Yeah, we go in over here, so just stick around.
The mess you've already made.
And just so that you guys know, I don't even need to.
Okay, so we're gonna get on to the next one, but yeah, I just wanted to set the stage for you guys to show you that that's the type of nonsense these women have been speaking of, right? That's the type of garbage they've been talking. And what I want you guys to also understand is that when you become like the Umar type, these type of dudes who keep trying to defend these women, and again, let's be very clear. Traditional African women who have the right values, the right mentality, I'm not talking about them. Again, I find African women attractive. I've dealt with some, right? I don't have a problem with even the ones who are worthy of a dowry, like Shadow Zulu said earlier. If they're a virgin, if they get the right type of values, then yeah, by all means. We wouldn't have a problem with a dowry. But what we ain't going to do is let these banshees, these run-throughs, these bust downs, I don't give a damn if they are from Africa, talk crazy and try to, throw shade on our image and try to project stuff that's this damn propaganda. And that's the whole problem. And for these guys like Umar and the rest of them that always be pedestals, putting these women on a pedestal, to me, bro, they just sound like this dude right here. They sound like this dude right here. You know what? I was about to show that clip with the well, yeah, you know what? These guys are like this. And again, some of us over here that speak this hard truth, we're more pro-black than these guys who claim to be pro-black, because what they're doing is they just running around screaming slogans and coming off like this guy right here.
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all. I'm blickety black, blacker than black, black, I'm blacker than black, yo, because I'm black and I'm back. Yo, I'm black and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blickety black, 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 I'm black, 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 y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, cause I'm black.
So that's all they doing, bro. They just out here screaming that they black and all this. Look, it's enough of that, right? Because when you got a situation where it's a critical mass and all of this stuff is falling apart, you ain't got no time to be talking about all of this stuff that they be talking about, like Umar. That's from a bygone era, man. And again, I'm very much into the culture and all that when it's done right. But when there's a problem, you gotta point this stuff out, and you can't be sitting up here giving all this fake platitudes, because like I said, it's just empty nonsense. And it's just like that clip I just showed. It's just they're just screaming about black this and black that, but the very problems that are happening, they're not really addressing that, and they're giving a pass to these women just because they want to tap into some pseudo pro-blackness, and it's ridiculous. And a lot of you guys ain't going for it, and that's why you're making the moves that you're making. And King C and Red said pro-black just means pro-black woman nowadays. Exactly. That's the problem with it. Because even if they were true to what true pro-blackness is, then it would be patriarchal. Because like I pointed out before, I even pointed this out when I was on Satan the Sinner's show, and shout out to him. When he had me on the show that time, I pointed out the fact that women got it twisted when it comes to even ancient Kemet or ancient Egypt, because they like to think, because they were taught by the Umars of the world and these other degenerates who are teaching, or they're twisting the history. They try to make it seem like Egypt or Nubia and all these other ancient black empires were somehow matriarchal, and they were not. They were matrilineal, and the difference is a matriarchy would be the women were the rulers when there was not. I even showed a breakdown of all the ancient kings of Nubia in Egypt, I did this on the show when I was addressing Princella, that the queen faker, the broad out here dressing like a dude who just had this revelation that she's dealing with the same thing that men have to go through, that she was trying to demonize men about. You know that same Princella chick. I did a video about her and how she was talking about some damn queen maker when there's no such thing. In any queen, the only way they got power was through the men. And I did a breakdown of all the ancient Nubian kings, and the only time there was a queen is when she was the daughter of a king, and it was always men around as advisors and so forth, right? And I pointed out the fact that these cultures were patriarchal. They were matrilineal, meaning that the lineage went through the woman, because the king could have so many different concubines that he would have all kind of kids. But for the royal lineage, it had to go through the king and the queen. That's what the difference was. But what they'll do is twist it up and make it seem like, oh, well, all these empires were matriarchal. The hell they were. They were matrilineal. They were patriarchs, where they had kings or pharaohs, and then the royal lineage went down through the king and the queen's line. But the king could have all kind of other women on the side that were not of the queen, so they were not of the royal descent. So they would use the queen's lineage, because you can't fake what's coming out of her womb, right? So they would use that as the heir to the throne, and that's how that worked. But make no mistake about it, it was the men who were the power base, and to the extent that there were women in power, it was because she was the daughter of a king and he didn't have any male heirs. That's the only reason why you would even get a queen. But yeah, and then Shadow Zulu says black men who financially build themselves are not gonna go to Africa to find a run-through female with 500 body counts. Exactly. And to be honest, bro, your 500 number is not much of an exaggeration, bro. And we got some receipts tonight. He said, I plan on going to Africa, but I'm gonna look twice at these run-throughs. Yeah, and that's why we're doing this type of broadcast, because I do believe that there's still some chances that you can find some nice women there, but you got to be specific and you got to be strategic in terms of where you go. And that's why I wish these guys would shut the hell up just talking about Africa as a whole, because it's a whole continent with 50 something countries. And if you gotta tell guys to go to Africa, tell them where to go. Tell them, okay, well, they need to be going to this particular country. Like, for example, I'll give you guys one. If you go to Uganda, right? The type of women you want to deal with are the ones from Buganda, and then that's a tribe. It's the country is Uganda, but there's a specific tribe called Buganda, and those women are trained to be submissive. They even kneel before their husband. Now, I ain't saying that you gotta want to have a woman to bow down to you, but I'm just giving you an example of the type of culture that you could get, and you have to distinguish, as opposed to some of the cultures that may be going on in, say, Kenya or Nigeria, right? There are specific places that you can go in Africa where, just as a tradition in those particular tribes, because again, Africa is so tribal that you want to get specific. You don't want to just throw a blanket statement out there talking about Africa as a whole. You gotta get specific, because if you don't, you're gonna be misleading guys. Guys are gonna go out there and they're gonna get taken by these women, because they got something out there called slay queens. I don't know if you guys heard about that, but I'm gonna show you tonight. And these slave queens are women who are basically whores, Africa's version of the insta-thoughts. And those are the ones that you be hearing about going to Dubai, getting all kinds of degrading things happening to them. A lot of those stories came from those so-called slave queens out of Kenya and South Africa. But yeah, we got receipts tonight. But yeah, so just sit tight. And then Shao Zulu's King Scene Red said, need the clip from Boys in the Hood when Trey says, let the ladies eat first. And Doughboy said 304's got to eat too. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get that too. Exactly. But you know what, bro? I'm because I'm such an old man. I can tell you where that clip, where Ice Cube even got that from. That whole hoes got to eat too. That came from a movie by Robert Townsend called Hollywood Shuffle, right? And there was a scene in there where they was talking about they gonna make something called a whole cake because hoes got to eat too. But that's an old movie. That's back from the 80s, right? I might play that original clip, but that's where Ice Cube got that from. But anyway, yeah, that is a funny clip though. But anyway, let's get some more, bro. We've got to go in on these new discoveries that I was telling you guys about. Let's see if we got everything we want from here. Oh yeah. Let me show you something else here because you may recognize this broad because we put it on the thumbnail. This broad by the name of Ideal Faith, and we're focusing on her because she was one of the first African broads that we kind of noticed were talking greasy, and we even invited her on the program. She said she would come on last year. She didn't show up, for obvious reasons. She realized the type of work we put in over here, and so she kind of chickened out. But I make reference to her because she's such a big defender and supporter of Cynthia G, right? And so this is the type of nonsense this woman says, and I'm gonna play this real quick as well.
I just finished watching a video and it is regarding a black man saying that black women think they are superior over black men.
And guys, do not be distracted by the dead skunk on her head, okay? Do not let that distract you. Let's continue.
My question is, black men, do you think your behavior warrants respect, trust from black women? That's my question.
Well, a better question would be, why do they even care about getting trust and respect from a 304? That's the bigger question. How many of you guys in this chat are just going to watch the playback? How many of you want respect or even submission or any of these things from these breed of women that today? See, that's where they get it twisted. They think that somehow they're still even the object of your desire with regard to even giving a damn how they feel. Oh, the only thing we're doing is pushing back because we don't like being lied on, right? We could care less about their respect or their submission at this point. Yeah, we're way past that. No one gives a damn about that, lady. So that's what you don't understand. We're way past the point of these men caring about whether or not some 304s respect them. Let's continue.
You look around you look around your community, and you think your behavior, you as men, you warrant respect, you warrant trust.
And first of all, a lot of the men who are watching this broadcast and other men who tune into similar podcasts like this, that's not your community. You didn't create it. It doesn't reflect your value system. It doesn't reflect your leadership. You didn't give a say so. This was liberal policies. A lot of you aren't liberals like that. A lot of the black women in conjunction or in cahoots with the Democratic Party and others created these inner city ghettos. You didn't have a say so in that. So how the hell is it your community? It ain't your community. If you didn't help create it, if you didn't flourish during that, if you didn't benefit from it, if you didn't sanction it, it's not your community. Just because there's a bunch of people that look like you that don't ostensibly share your value system, that's not your community. And then Shadow Zulu says 304s are for everybody. I could care less about their respect, opinion, or submission. Exactly. That's like a public toilet. Why would you give a damn that a public toilet is dirty? Right? I mean, let's be real. A porta potty, something that's for the public. Now, you care about your own bathroom, right? The bathroom you have at home, you want to make sure that's clean. You're going to make sure that that has all this proper disinfectants and bleach and all that. You're going to make sure that your own bathroom is spotless because it's yours. But you ain't going to spend your time caring about a public bathroom. In fact, if it's too dirty, you ain't even going to use it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, they've turned themselves into public utilities. So, therefore, they don't have the right to be under the tutelage or protection of any particular man when you're community property. But let's continue.
From black women, I have worked in many disciplines, and the behavior of black men in those disciplines, it's just atrocious.
Now, I don't know what she's talking about. Apparently, she's working in some type of fields, and she's claiming as if the black men there are, I guess, Uncle Tom's or something. I don't know. But I will say this: the biggest butt kissers I've ever seen in corporate America or any place like that have been these middle management black women, right? Those are the worst. And I think everybody knows that who's been in any type of corporate environment. And that's not just, projecting. These are facts. So whatever her particular experiences are with those particular men, I'm not sure. Maybe there is something there, but let's be clear. When it comes to the numbers, if she has an issue with suck ups and butt kissers and bootlickers and all that type of stuff, then she needs to look no further than these American black women in corporate America. Shadow Zulu, you sounds like you know from experience, bro. 100% facts, because I know I do. I've seen it up close and personal, and it's disgusting. So I don't know what her experiences are, but I think most of you will attest to the fact, if you've spent any time in corporate America, that those are some of the biggest butt kissers around, and that's why a lot of times they get in the positions that they are, and they're quick to be on their back as well, if you know what I mean, to get to the top. But let's get it.
You are not to be trusted. You are ready to lick other asses just to displease women who look like you.
Okay, so you see what I'm saying, right? So she's acting like she has this problem, but again, it's projection. Everything that she and others like her say that they have a problem with, it all stems from them. And it's always more pronounced when it comes to them, but somehow they want to make it seem like it's the black men who are the issue. And let's be very clear. If this thing was reversed, and if all this negative data and all this negative information was geared towards black men, I would be pointing it out. Let's be very clear. We're very data oriented over here. I don't have a dog in the fight. If the facts are the facts, and we can pull out reams of data to show just numerically who is creating these issues that these women keep complaining about. And it all goes back to them, but they don't want to accept it. So that's why those of you guys who tune in to broadcasts like this, you guys just want to get that clarity to let you know you're not crazy. You are the ones that are going to make the decisions that make your life and your future posterity better. You don't need to be looking at the garbage that these women are saying. Don't internalize it. It's all propaganda, and it makes it has no bearing on who you really are. And they got a media machine that's behind them, and that's why a lot of guys get caught up in that, and it start affecting their self-esteem, and then they come out like Umar and these other guys, and they just start blaming black men for everything. And we say enough of that. And then Samson says, I be confused. Are these African women talking about American black men or black men in Africa? And why are they talking about us when they know nothing about the U.S.? It is just clout chase. You said, is it just clout chasing? Yeah, great question. And I don't know if you got a chance to see our other broadcasts, but we have addressed that. What this is that they are projecting the issues that they're having with African men, and they're tapping into what I call kind of like an anti-black male propaganda machine, just like that Rhoda Osman Somalian chick, the brick bitch. She pretty much was doing the same thing when she came out and said she got hit with a brick and blaming essentially American black men. So they already know, right, that they can tap in and get clout, money, and so forth just by demonizing us. Meanwhile, they are experiencing certain things by their own men. We pulled out the receipts and showed that they are, but then, and rather than them talking about what's going on there, because they know that somebody's going to go upside their head and knock that goddamn wig off their head, they don't want to talk about them directly, so they'll project it onto us. And that's why we're even doing these series of video of broadcasts, so that you guys will be aware of this, and to also let those guys know who are always bigging up Africa, that if you're going to big up Africa, be specific. Stop just saying Africa as a whole and start dealing with these specific countries and specific tribes. Because I'm not saying there's no quality women there. There are plenty of quality women in Africa. But make sure you're bigging up the right ones and stop giving undue credit to weave wearing wenches like this banshee on the screen who ain't got nothing but vitriol and negative propaganda to put out and piss on your image. And that's all they're trying to do. And and this is where the empire strikes back. We ain't gonna sit there and take this when these women are literally just spreading propaganda. We already or you guys, so like I said, I've already been gone, but a lot of you guys who still live in the West, you got to make sure that you are standing strong. And that's why it's important to support broadcasts like this, because we're going to help permeate that message. We're going to help push the narrative away from all this negativity and show you guys in a better light, because all they're trying to do is just demonize you without any true context. And so whether you like it or not, that has a negative impact on you. And therefore, that's why we're doing this. But let's get it.
You are the problem, black men. Stop complaining and giving blames.
You see more projection, right? So again, all the things that they're saying have no bearing on the actual facts on the ground. It has no bearing on historically how the situation turned into what it is. They want to completely overlook the feminist movement and the specific choices that they made that created the issues that are going on today. They want to act like that these single mother-raised men who were extra feminized, who are the ones that they're dealing with, the ones who are out here, the guys who are the criminal class, those guys that they want to reproduce with and are having all these issues with, which were reared by women like them, that's who they got a problem with. But they want to take men like you, the hardworking, righteous men who are just trying to, take care of your business, regular dudes who ain't got baby mamas everywhere. They want to project this onto you. And that's what I'm saying. We're trying to create a narrative to push back at that, because as long as they have the microphone, that's all you're going to get from them. It's not going to be your side of the story being told. And that's why we're doing this. But let's continue.
I just finished watching a video and it is regarding a black man saying that black women think they are superior over black men. My question is, black men, do you think your behavior warrants respect, trust from black women?
So again, we've answered that earlier, right? We don't care about their respect at this point. We just want to set the record straight. And the other thing is, she talks about the behavior. What men are she talking about? I don't think she's talking about you guys in the chat. I don't think she's talking about you guys who are going to watch this playback. I think she's talking about the type of degenerates that she can attract with that type of wig. The inner city criminal class type dude, the guy who, probably has a criminal record or two. Those type of guys, yeah, you might expect them to have some type of bad behavior, because that's the type of guys they are. So when she talks about behavior, we got to be specific in terms of who she's talking about.
That's my question. You look around you look around your community, and you think your behavior,
And again, that's not you guys' community. You didn't create it. It doesn't reflect your value system. No one asked you anything. You didn't have any input. So it's not your community. If you don't control it, it's not your community. If it doesn't reflect your value system, it's not your community. That's why you can go to a whole nother country, whether it's in Africa, Asia, or wherever, and you can find something that's more in tune with your value system, because it was made by men who didn't have to go against the type of resistance, such as in the West, when you had to go up against the feminist movement and all these other associated entities that are helping to promote it, whether it be media or even governmental institutions. That's the reason why you can go to these countries and find a culture made by guys like yourself to share your value system, and the women are acting accordingly. That's the reason. But that's the type of nuance that they can't add to the conversation. They just want to blame you guys for everything.
You as men, you warrant respect, you warrant trust from black women. I have worked in many disciplines, and the behavior of black men.
Yeah, so we already got that part. But anyway, yeah, so I believe the point is proven in terms of how reckless these women been talking. So what we're going to do now, guys, because I want to make this very clear. These women are just full of it. I'm about to show you some stuff. When they start talking about how they got to be given dowries and they have so many values and all of this, that, and the third, we're going to show how a lot of these women are in such destitute situations, like one of you guys pointed out earlier, apparently the men there aren't even taking care of them, right? Because otherwise, why are these women doing stuff like going to the so-called Middle East to become these maids and so forth for these Arab families and getting disrespected and mistreated, such as situations like this right here? And we're going to play a couple of clips of things like this. So check it out.
January this year, 23-year-old Zaitun Zawede, who hails from Masaka, died in Saudi Arabia, where she had been working as a domestic worker. Zawede was taken to Saudi Arabia by Forbes Enterprise Limited, and her contract was set to expire this month, with the hope of returning back to Uganda in March, according to family members.
Batamute yafa bulwadde ki kuba nze nakoma okwogera naye ssaawa 8 ngenda okuddamu okuwulira amawulire nti afudde ki ekyatta muganda wange.
Constant appeals to Forbes Enterprise Limited to help return Zawede's body for proper burial have been fruitless, with the company referring them to government.
Tubadde tumusuubira okudda mu Gwokusatu ate kyatukubye enkikwe nga lwamala kontrakiti ye lweggwako ate ne batubikira mbu afudde.
When we visited Forbes Enterprise Limited, we were denied access. However, after concealing our cameras, we established that other people had been granted access. We also learned that government had withdrawn the company's license, leaving those recruited by Forbes Enterprise Limited in uncertain situation.
This company, I hear, and as I saw on the list of suspensions from the Ministry of Gender, it was suspended. You can imagine, when you call this man, he tells you, I am not capable to reach my counterparts the other side, or even to do anything.
The pain of getting employment in the country has pushed many to seek for opportunities elsewhere. At least 12,000 Ugandans.
So again, they're going to these countries to be maced because it ain't popping where they're at. You know, the employment situation is bad. They're not getting wifed up with those dowries. You know, those are not getting paid apparently. So they got to go and sell themselves to the highest bidder in these Middle Eastern countries, and they're coming up missing. So, you know, we got more of that. So I just wanted to, you know, set the stage with that one, and let's get some more because they get worse. So let's give you some more. Now check this one out.
$2.8 million women work as maids in the Middle East. Many have their passports confiscated on arrival, and some find themselves trapped inside homes where they're overworked, underpaid, and physically abused.
Now you see, they sent up there hanging them off a balcony. So my question is this, and again, we're not making fun of people's trauma or anything like this, but when you come for us, you're claiming about how American black men doing you so dirty, and many of them, like one of the other brothers, like you pointed out earlier, they probably never even dealt with an American black man, but they got all this energy. Where are all the videos with them condemning what those Arab men are doing to them when they go to these countries? It just showed you, you know, they had one of them hanging from a damn balcony. You know what I'm saying? Smacking them, doing all this kind of stuff, taking their passports. They worrying about what the passport bros are doing, but they ain't worried about them Arabs taking their passports, keeping them there, and going upside their head whenever they feel like it. So that's the problem. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. We about to go in because we're going to show some crazy stuff. But anyway, he said, I got a dowry for them. It's called that funky $40 so we can get it in. Hey man, it's like they say, you don't pay them to stay, you pay them to leave. so I see what you're saying, King Seeing Red. But let's get some more.
Emma Mbura is a Kenyan senator who campaigns for the rights of Kenyan women who are sent as domestic servants to the Middle East. Today she's on her way to the hospital to visit Mary, a Kenyan maid who was badly burned in a fire at her employer's home in Jordan.
Nilipofika kwa jiko, Maria akapiga nduru, wakaamka. Mama nini Maria?
Now remember, guys, as you're watching these clips that we're about to show, just keep in mind what they were saying about us, but they don't have this type of energy for these guys who are doing this type, like this woman who got burned and all this kind of stuff. This is the type of stuff they're dealing with because they apparently they got it going on so much where they are that they have to leave to go to these different places to get treated like this. And those dudes ain't paying them no damn dowry either, right? So it's just kind of weird how they got so much energy about what so-called passport bros or American black men are doing, but they going through this type of stuff.
Nachomeka. Nisaidie mama. Alipotamka nilihisi kuna mtu ananipiga mateke.
For a month, no one in Jordan, not her employers or the recruitment agency, informed Mary's family of the accident until she was put on a plane home.
And they respected her so much they didn't even tell her family what had happened to her till they was ready to ship her butt back. Crazy.
Now this is her.
You saw that picture, right? Told you we going in tonight. You showed how burned she was. That's what that woman has to deal with. But they still going over there, though. They not putting out videos talking about how these Arab men needs to treat them better and stop burning them and hanging them for balconies and smacking them and do all this kind of stuff. They ain't coming out with the same energy. It's just so crazy to me. The American guys that are going over there ain't doing nowhere near this type of stuff. But I don't see that. Maybe I'm not looking in the right places. I don't know. But I don't see these type of vitriolic videos that they're putting out against the passport bros that they're, and how they're being treated by these guys. It's kind of weird to me. And Shadow Zulu says, so they are getting, he said, they're getting SHIT in Arabic countries, but want us to pay dowry. Oh yeah, bro, we got more. We ain't even touched on that yet, but yeah, we gonna touch on that too, bro. So this hang tight. We gonna get it.
No, the world has come to know what is happening. As a mother, as a leader, I will not stand, I will not sit and watch this kind of. We are not animals.
Yeah, but you ain't doing nothing about it. And then y'all not making up a big. She's saying that because that's her daughter. But where's the outrage? Why? How is it that they got so much time to be talking about American black men when this is going on, right? That's the problem. Your energy is being misdirected. Maybe if you were on those people's neck, the way you call yourself trying to be demonizing American black men to the point where you're literally making up shit. Maybe if you were just talking about what's actually happening to you and all these stupid wig wearing wenches that are making all these goofy videos about American black men that they probably have never even dealt with, maybe if they were speaking up more against this type of stuff, maybe it wouldn't happen so much. You ever think of that? But let's continue.
There is no slave trade anymore.
Apparently there is a slave trade.
Despite stories of abuse, thousands of women from Kenya and Ghana still sign up with recruitment agencies.
Wait a minute, you hear that? Now, whose fault is it at that point? So even if you want to have sympathy for them, she said in spite of this, they know what's going on, and thousands of them are still signing up for it. So at that point, you get what you get. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, you know what's going on. So it's so bad in your country. You know what's happening to these women when they go to these countries, but you still are going over there in droves. And on top of that, you got the audacity to be talking about a group of men that ain't even doing this type of stuff to you. And apparently you're trying to talk about how you're getting all these dowries and you got to pay. And okay, if you're getting all these dowries, then why the hell are you even got to pack up to go to these countries to get treated like this anyway? You see what I'm saying? See, that's the problem with propaganda, right? It's just made up BS and it doesn't fit reality. Because if they had it popping like that, if they were getting all these dowries that they're trying to claim you guys got to pay, then they wouldn't even have to do this. But even in spite of them risking life and limb, they know of these stories. Some of them know people personally that this has happened to, but they're still going over there in droves. It is crazy to me. You understand? So this is why you guys can sit here and let these women just talk crazy, because they are literally getting treated like garbage. And then they got and you guys are not the ones doing it, but they want to run your image through the ground and say virtually nothing against the guys who are actually doing it. He said maybe they don't, I mean paying dowry, but paying dairy. He said maybe they don't mean paying dowry, but paying dairy. I don't even want to know what you mean by that, bro. Paying dairy. I don't know where you're going with that, bro. But but anyway, let's get some more.
Like this one in Jordan.
So those are the guys right there doing it to him, right? But where are all the videos against these guys? That's all I want to know.
لو لاحظنا على تركيز السوق الاردني على الغنيات بالدرجه الاولى احسن من كينيا. انا بالنسبه لي
احسن من كينيا.
احسن من كينيا.
احنا كينيا احلى.
لا انا بقول لك هلا شوف الكينيه تعريف.
You say you think Kenyans are better. Better for what? It means when they go upside their head, they ain't, you know, they kind of they tend to like it. Oh, he said dairy products, milk and cheese. Okay. Yeah. So something, because you know, for whatever reason, these Arab dudes ain't paying them no dowry. They figured out a way to get around that for some reason. But anyway, he said there in the King Seen Red says Riley Freeman voice, I see piss, I move, they see shit, they stand there. Yeah, we going, bro. We gonna pull out some receipts tonight on that you know, on that note. But yeah, it's really disgusting what a lot of these women are doing, and then it got the audacity to be talking crazy. It is ridiculous.
اعلى هدول الشعب لهم بيضوا هارد وركر. انا بعت لك اخر جروب وصل.
So they just sit around with these, like, this guy's a quote recruitment agent, but I say trafficker, right? So these guys are just sitting around comparing these countries, like, oh, Ghana, they this, Kenya, they're that. So they got a whole little system in place of getting these women there and basically exploiting the hell out of them. But I don't see the tenth of the outrage of these guys that I see what they're trying to say about American black men who ain't did nothing like this to them.
احلى
ايه هودي ايه
سنه 11 بنت اياها
ايه بعقده شو خيي هيك يوصلوا كميه غير شكل.
See, they're laughing at their goofy ass, right? See, look at it. They just sitting back, yeah, I got 11 of them. He got a whole harem. He got a whole stock of them. They just trade them like freaking baseball cards. But these goofy ass broads ain't saying nothing about that. They ain't going in on that. We the ones pointing this out. I have not seen one of these broads show a video like this going in like how I'm going in. But I'm going in just to show the hypocrisy and how these are the type of guys who's really doing stuff to them, but they got all this to say about you guys. That's what I'm pointing out. But I have not seen any of them take clips like this about what's actually happening to them and not even mention it, much less criticize it. And that's why a lot of their women keep going over there in droves. It's just like what happens in America, for example, with those divestors who want to sit there and keep trying to demonize black men. Meanwhile, they're not criticizing the men of these other communities, and then they're giving the false impression that these up and coming divestors are going to be safe, and that's why they go up. And that happened to that Sade Robinson chick in Milwaukee, who got chopped up basically, and the other ones that has happened to, because she ain't the only one, because of their propaganda, and they're spending so much time against you guys that they're taking their eyes off the ball, and then they're creating this false sense of security that they can go off with these other guys without any pushback. And that's where they're really getting their the brakes beat off of them, is from these other dudes. Like, and these guys get to sit up here and laugh with no type of pushback.
You are welcome here.
And look at that. They come in there in droves, right? Look at that.
And you have a good choice that you have Mr. Yusuf. He's one of the best agencies in Jordan.
Thank you, Dad. We must call you Dad.
Lily?
Did she just call him dad? Did she just call him dad? Let me play that back. I don't know. Maybe I'm hearing things. Did she just call this man her would-be trafficker? Did she just smile up here, skinning and grinning, and call this guy dad? Let me play that back.
Of the best agency in Jordan.
Thank you, Dad. We must call you Dad.
Lily?
Yeah, she called him dad. He said it's that colonizer and divester mentality. Black women keep losing. Yeah, they stay losing, bro. And they're losing intercontinentally. They're losing internationally. But they got all this to say about you guys. Amazing.
Thank you.
This whole thing just looks cringe. This just looks crazy, bro. I don't even use the word cringe, but they made that word for situations like what you see on that screen. That is bizarre, right? That you got all these women in there calling this guy dad. They're basically traffickers, and they just sitting up there skinning and grinning, and it's just and they know what they're about to do to these women. And they sitting up there goofy. That's why they're sitting up there laughing, because they can't believe how they have such a steady stream of goofy women coming over here to get exploited, even after all the information has come out, and they're still coming over. That's why they can't contain themselves. They over laughing and yucking it up with these women because they know what they're about to do to them.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And they goofy asses laughing right along with them.
And you too also so beautiful, really.
Thank you.
Neither of these agents is accused of abuse, but the abuse does happen, often behind closed doors and usually unreported. Some women, though, escape to safe houses, like this character center in Lebanon, where they are free to tell their stories.
He came where I was sleeping and he told me, I want you. And I told him,
yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah, ain't they the ones always talking about something giving them the ick and all that kind of stuff? Yeah, I mean, if this don't do it, I don't know what will. But they can find a way to get an ick from you guys, but they won't get it from this type of situation.
No, I can't. I'm married. And he told me, you're in my house. You have to obey my roles in this house.
I was feeling confused. Even I was wishing I would die. It was hard. I don't know.
Man, they did her so dirty, she wanted to get checked out of there. She wanted to go, she wanted to self-delete. They did her so bad. Crazy.
Remember it.
Marivik? Give me lighter. I don't think there is a human.
Man, he just talked to her like a dog. Give me lighter. He didn't he didn't ask her polite at all. Give me lighter. And guess where they are? They're in Lebanon, and Lebanon is not some rich country. Lebanon, there's a lot of poor people there. So I guess these are the ones who got money there, but that's a pretty poor country, actually. So for them to be going there, I mean, how low do they gotta be? And they just get treated like straight dogs.
Rights in this world. No way. Maybe in Europe, but not in the Middle East.
You already said, let me play that back because I think you didn't hear that. Let me play back what this guy said. Watch this.
Give me lighter. I don't think there is a human rights in this world. No way. Maybe in Europe, but not in the Middle East.
So he's saying they ain't even got no human rights, bro. They don't even have human rights. So that means that they could, as far as he's concerned, they could treat them any kind of way. But in spite of that, they're still going over there. You've seen the clip. They were coming over there in droves. So where is all of this high standard, these African values, this dowry culture? Where is it? That, and why do they have such dysfunction that they will go to a place like that? He said, where's Kamala? Well, you know, she's protecting the Indians, right? So I think she's took off her mask now. She's just straight Indian. Now, she used to try to claim she was, you know, black somewhere down the road somewhere, but no, I think she's just straight Indian now. But yeah, but you would think that her and women like her would be speaking out against this type of stuff, right? Yeah, that's what you would think.
In 2012, Kenya banned women from travelling to the Middle East as domestic workers. But recently, they lifted that ban and signed new deals with Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, and Jordan.
Those are the worst offenders. You see how stupid that is? They banned it, and this shows you how they're being failed by their men who supposed to be their protectors. Like the other one says, we are treated like queens. Oh, really? So what queendom allows its quote queens to get shipped off to a place where they're getting treated like that? And then you got the nerve. He said she speaks for a rainbow. Yeah, she does that too. She does that too. But you know, it's kind of weird that they would ban it, and then all of a sudden they lifted the ban for the same countries which are the worst violators of that. He mentioned Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, and what was the other one? Let me make sure I get all of them. These are the worst offenders.
But recently, they lifted that ban and signed new deals with Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, and Jordan.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, and Jordan. So I wonder why they did that. You guys have any guesses as to why they would lift the ban? Maybe somebody got their palms greased. Somebody got a little payoff to sell their women down the river because it's such a lucrative, essentially trafficking. It's a market, right? That's what it is. So it was too many people making money, and they need these domestic women to do all the dirty work. And so their government the Kenyan government thinks so highly of their queens that they set up there and lift, the ban that they put on that for their safety. They lifted it because apparently somebody got paid off. He said she's a chameleon. She can change to black and Indian randomly when it fits her agenda. Yeah, and the reason she's able to do that is because stupid Negroes allow that to happen. So if they had a clear demarcation line and they didn't allow that, and they were doing more gatekeeping, then she couldn't get away with it. So yeah, that's a problem with that. But yeah, let's get it.
Mary Mbela, the maid who was burnt while working in Jordan, died of her injuries a month after she was returned to Kenya.
Yeah, so you remember that woman that we showed earlier? She's gone now. But again, there is no outrage. I don't see no pushback. They're still getting on those planes going over there in droves. And just another one bites the dust. That's all it is.
Her family was never compensated.
Oh, they didn't even... Oh, so what about the dowry? I would expect that there should have been at least a dowry, right? Or something. So they didn't get compensation. So let me get this straight. They were able to take their daughter, like some of them other goofy African women were saying, well, you cannot get this for free. Okay. So they got it for free because they didn't really, I'm sure they didn't pay her much, if anything. They treated her like dirt, dogged her out, ran into the ground, burnt her. She's gone, and her family didn't get nothing. So it looks like they got this for free. And check out Samson. He said, women content got a common theme. They love rich men and they are evil. No, they love rich men that are evil. It's only a problem when evil happens to them. That's why there's no videos or outrage. Exactly. That is true. That is the part of the problem. They don't have a problem with it until it happens to them. But then by that time, it's too late, right? Just like what happened to this guy, this woman. But let's continue.
While the fight against the trade in domestic servants continues for Emma Mbura.
Kwa sababu wanaokwenda Saudia ni wasichana wengi ambao mara nyingi si wasomi kutoka kwetu mijini.
Yeah, you're right. Like this woman was saying, they are their daughters, but what are they teaching them? How come they ain't teaching them not to go over there? Once one or two of these situations happen, that should have been the end of it. And in fact, Kenya should have kept that ban going. They should have. So the fact that they lifted it showed that they don't give a damn about their women over there. Because why would you see a situation where your women are coming back in body bags? They're not even compensating you. They're doing all this dirt to them, humiliating them, doing all this garbage. You put a ban up ostensibly to protect them, and then somehow the ban gets lifted, but the behavior didn't change. In fact, if anything, they're about to go harder now because they see you a punk, and you're just going to let them treat your queens any kind of way. So what about that?
Mimi leo siondoki hapa mpaka nikae na nyinyi wa mama kando na tupange hino Kilifi County kama wanawake.
See, they talking. See, she's the one. I think she's the mother of that woman that died. So that's why she's outraged. But again, it's too little, too late. Yeah. So that's pretty much that one. So that gave you guys a very good, clear view in terms of what exactly them women are enduring. But you don't see nowhere near the smoke. You see nowhere near the energy that they're putting into making all these different accusations. They're literally making up stuff. I want you guys to understand that. To soil your image, they're literally making up stuff. Meanwhile, all that is happening to them and stuff like this is happening to them. Right here. This type of stuff happening to them over there in the Middle East.
أبا مينونة تعالي
So, in case you guys don't understand what's going on, they were treating her so dirty. They were doing her so dirty over there that she's tried to commit suicide. So I guess she was going to jump from the balcony, which, I guess to show you how much love they were giving her, right? She's about to try to delete herself by jumping off the balcony, but somehow I guess she's hanging on. Maybe she chickened out at the last minute, but she's hanging, and then her so-called employer or owner, as it were, is just looking there filming it and ain't trying to help her. So that's what you're looking at now. And Zulu says, no dowry, and how come their sorcery is not working? Yeah. How come the sorcery and the juju ain't working? That's all I want to know. But let's get it. Yeah, they said that the woman, she survived. So that's just through grace of the Most High or whatever, because it wasn't because anybody was really trying to help her. And then they said that the woman was, quote, detained that filmed it. But, she's probably going to get a slap on the wrist, if anything. So it said reports of abuse include being beaten, locked inside, and forced to work excessive hours. Yeah. That's why she was trying to delete herself, because the conditions were so bad. But yet they keep going over there.
Sabi niya sa akin na, kasi nagreklamo ako.
Yeah, and then that's like a Filipino. But yeah, but it looks to me like the African
annually
women
in search of employment, according to government. Masaka
like
died in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, it looks like the African women are being treated the worst, right? So we're gonna pull up. So let me clear out this my videos. I'm about to load some new ones. But yeah, guys, that is what they are dealing with, but they don't have the same type of energy for those guys. So I just want you, as these proceedings go, as we're bringing out more and more, we just want to keep that in mind, right? Because I'm going to keep bringing you back to that point. Now check this out. Here's another one, and I believe, because the other ones we were talking about women in Kenya, Uganda, Ghana, places like that. Now here's South Africa, and this is a Nigerian lady in one of those other countries, I think Oman, and this is her experience.
Orúkọ mi ni Adétómísìn, ọmọ Nàìjíríà ni mí, from Ondo State. Oman ni mo wà tí mo sì ń bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí. Nígbà tí màá kúrò Nàìjíríà, US lèmi àti agent mi jọ sọ pé.
Okay, so she said when she left Nigeria, she agreed with her agent that she'll go to work in the US. So somehow they sold her the BS that she was going to go to the US, right? So apparently, they got her over in Oman, and she's appealing to somebody to save her. But again, these women, instead of making goofy videos against you guys, why are they not rallying for women like her and putting out the narrative to help women like her, using their channels instead of trying to demonize you, trying to signal boost women like her who could actually need their help? Why did that Somali chick feel the need to come out, make up a lie against you guys when they're clearly women probably from Somalia or some other African country in the same situation this woman is in, that they could actually help? But they would rather demonize you than to help themselves. Amazing.
Nígbà tí mo parí IC program mi tí ó sì jẹ́ tí mo dẹ̀ rí situation of things tó ṣe rí ni mo ṣe choose pé kí n travel. Agency mi ní pé òun máa bá mi secure iṣẹ́ ní US. All of a sudden ni gbogbo everything change mi gbogbo tó ṣẹlẹ̀. Ló fi gbé wa wá sí Oman, èmi àti one other lady kọ́. Ìgbà tá a dé airport Loma, àwọn méjì kan náà wá gbé wa. Ìgbà tó gbé wa, wọ́n gbé wa lọ sí ọ́fíìsì kan. Ìgbà tá a dé ọ́fíìsì yẹn, wọ́n gba passport wa, wọ́n gba everything lọ́wọ́ wa.
And you hear the same story over and over again. Now, if we know about this, if we know it's all a scam, then shouldn't they know? Wouldn't it be in their best interest to understand that they shouldn't even do this? I don't care how much money they're claiming that they're going to get. They should know by now that this is all a facade, right? And that the same thing happens. They lie to them, they get them over there, they take their passports, and then all of a sudden they're done. The risk itself is not worth it. So what is it that's so bad about their countries that they keep bigging up? Because apparently, if you hear some of them tell it, everything's going on so great, and then when you get over there, in order for you to get one of these high esteemed women that apparently these Arab guys ain't, gotta even respect, but you gotta go over there paying all kinds of exorbitant dowries. What is it that's so bad that they keep in droves leaving in spite of all these stories coming out? Don't you know that no amount of money that they're trying to get will be worth going through the type of stuff that they're going through right now? So I'm sure whatever she was going through back in Nigeria was not as bad as what she's experiencing right here. But let's get it.
Wọ́n gba everything lọ́wọ́ wa pẹ̀lú fóònù wa. Wọ́n gbé wa lọ síbi tá a ti máa ṣiṣẹ́. Ìgbà tí mo débi tí màá ti máa ṣiṣẹ́, ọ̀gá mi bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní threaten mi. Ṣé ló bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní threaten mi tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní frustrate life mi? For the first 4 months tí mo ṣiṣẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ ẹ̀, kò fún mi ní salary, kò fún mi lówó kankan.
So you mean he got it for free? So for 4 months, you see what she said? She said for the first 4 months that she worked there, he didn't pay me salary. He didn't give me any money. So it sounds like he got it for free, right? So that's the very thing these women been criticizing you guys for. See, you can't go over there expecting nothing for free, right? So I guess the way to get around that is that you create some lie that you're going to give them a job, and then you import them into your country and you just work them for 4 months without paying them, and that's how you can get it for free. So that's the way you do it, because according to them, if you go over there, you got to pay all this huge dowry. But I guess they got a workaround, so the Arabs figured out a way to get it for free. So there you go. But they ain't got no energy for them though.
Ìgbà tí mo pe agent mi ní pé òun ti play part òun, kò sí kan tó kọ òun mọ́ wá. Àtìgbà yẹn ni mo sì ń pè tí ò gbé kọ́ mọ́, kò gbé kọ́ mi mọ́. Nígbà tó wá yá ni mo rí bí everything ṣe lọ. Tọ́gá mi bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní threat mi pé dandan ṣáfẹ́ máa bá mi sùn, mo dẹ̀ ní mi lè ṣe.
So there you go, you're getting it for free.
Pẹ̀lú iṣẹ́ wàhálà tí mò ń ṣe, màá ti jí láago 4 ìdájí. Ó di 12 o'clock, 12:01 lóru kí n tó lọ padà lọ sùn. Mo ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní threat mi pé tí mi bá ṣe kan tó ń fẹ́ pé ó máa pa mí ni. Mo yẹ níbi ìṣe mọ́ nìyẹn o, pé kó dá mi padà sí country mi after oṣù 4 tí mo ti lò. Tí mi ò rówó gbà, tí ó sówó. tí ó sì kọ̀ọ̀kan tí mò ń ṣiṣẹ́ látàárọ̀ dalẹ́ lójoojúmọ́. Mo yẹ gbé mi padà lọ sí ọ́fíìsì nìyẹn o, ọ́fíìsì tí wọ́n ti mú mi wá sọ́dọ̀ ẹ̀. Nígbà tí mo dé ọ́fíìsì.
And once again, I got to ask you guys, when all of this is happening to them, how do they find the time of day? How do they find the moment to spend saying anything about you guys when this is what's happening to them and women like them? You got to ask that question. How is it possible that they can find the spare time to make a goofy video demonizing you when you've never done anything like this to them, but the very guys that's doing it to them, they have nothing to say about it?
Wọ́n jẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní pariwo mọ́ wa. Wọ́n gbé wa lọ sínú yàrá kan, wọ́n tì wá mọ́bẹ̀ ya. Nígbà tó tì wá mọ́bẹ̀, odidi ọ̀sẹ̀ kan kò sóúnjẹ kò sómi.
So not only are they getting it for free, they're not even feeding them. So they're literally getting it for free, because even, during slavery, it wasn't the best of food, but at least they were being fed something. They had her, according to her, a week without food or water. Crazy.
Omi tọ́lẹ́tì ni most of us ń mu fún odidi ọ̀sẹ̀ kan. Kó tó di pé wọ́n ṣe wá gbé wa padà lọ ṣiṣẹ́. Ìgbà tó tún wá gbé wa padà lọ ṣiṣẹ́, mo sì lò ọdún kan àti oṣù méjì lọ́dọ̀ ẹ̀. Ara mi ò yá o, ara mi ò yá, mo sick. Mo sọ fún ọ̀gá mi pé kó jẹ́ kí n máa padà sí country mi.
So anyway, you get the point. She was basically held against her will. She's pleading, crying for help. And, again, where are all those women that got so much to say about you guys? Why come they're not putting this video out here to try to signal boost and call for this woman to get help, or women like her? Because she's not the only one. There's all kinds of women going through that. And here's another example.
Depression, anxiety, sadness, and more are what most ladies go through working as a housemaid or shangala in some Arab countries.
Yeah, but that don't stop them from going. That's the crazy part. At this point, they are part of the problem because they keep running their asses over there.
These things are caused by their work stress and loneliness. I am not being maltreated by my boss, but sometimes I can be emotionally drained or frustrated. I would break down, be sad, and have anxiety.
So that's the other part. So even if they're not going upside their head, they're still under enormous amounts of stress and things like that. And you best believe they're probably asked to do a little extracurricular activities as well, besides whatever work they're doing. So that's the other part of it too. And Kingston and Red said, worldwide, black men are the permanent underclass. So because they consider these men to be better, this is extremely acceptable. Yeah, but it's to their own detriment though, because when they do that, they're just making themselves a bigger target. And then to show you how irresponsible it is, they're creating this pipeline because these other women, they're not putting them up on the proper game. They're not letting them know what the real deal is. So they're just coming up behind them thinking it's all good. Because like I said, it's a very strong correlation between them and the divestors in the West, because they both doing the same thing. If you notice, they're both creating this pipeline where these other men can exploit them and ultimately delete them, right? So that's what they're doing. They're offering them up. It's like a sacrificial lamb, and that's what they're doing. They're both sides are guilty. Those continental African women and the American B-dubs. But let's get it.
Sometimes all I want to do is cry a lot. I don't know how to explain. Like some days I will be fine, maybe towards the morning or in the evening, and I don't know, something will just like come on me. Like I will be very, very emotionally drained. Like I would be, I don't know, it would be as if some things are heavy on me that I just need to let go.
that I just need to like just let go, just go, like just go. That is how I used to feel sometimes, guys. It is really not easy. Like, I know I'm not the
Now, let me ask you guys, what kind of job would you have that's taking you through all of that? Right? You ain't working no job that's gonna take you through all of that. He said they don't care whatever it takes to get close to who they believe to be God. What the serpent told them they could have. Yeah, it's the same thing that's replaying over and over again. But yeah, let's get some more. But I just wanted to show you that it's not just even the physical. They're going through all types of emotional and psychological BS as well. And then they want you to pay a dowry for that. So after they get through getting ran through, physically and mentally abused, and the Arabs throw them back out there, back to Kenya or wherever they got them from, then you supposed to kill your goofy ass over there paying them an exorbitant dowry. That's the game they trying to run on you. See, the Arab men, they get it for free, and you get the leftovers, and you gotta pay a dowry. Yeah. And check this out.
I was to
Oh yeah, and Shadow Zulu says, I wonder if these African countries are broadcasting these videos to their females to let them know about these Arabic countries. You know what's so crazy? Even though we're going in on them, we're probably doing more of a service than they are, because we've compiled this information and we're putting it into its proper context, which is something neither their governments or those women who want to make these stupid videos about you guys, they're not doing that. And in fact, it's like we pointed out earlier, in Kenya, they put a ban on those women going over there, but then they lifted the ban. So then you got to ask the question why, because it's not like those Arab countries started improving their treatment of these women. They didn't. All they did was grease the pockets, paid off one of those presidents or something, and then now it's all good. They paid them off because they're so corrupt over there. But meanwhile, they got all this to say about you, and their governments are selling them out left and right. So they lift the ban, and now they can still go over there. And so these other countries like Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and Lebanon, who are the chief abusers of these women, they get to have a steady pipeline. Crazy.
come and work in a restaurant. Only to my surprise that I came and got myself in the house.
He told me that you'll be working 8 hours per day, 5 days in a week. And every month they will...
I might be wrong, but she looks like the one that got burned to death. I don't know. Maybe this was a previous broadcast, but she looks like the one that was burned. Maybe, maybe it's the hairstyle. I don't know. But let's continue.
pay you $400.
They asked me for the passport. Even I never saw it at the first time I arrived, I never saw it again.
How many hours did you work a day?
Almost 18 hours.
18 hours a day. Man, that's the type of hours you work for. If you got your own business, you don't work like that much for nobody else unless you're a straight up slave. Who wants to work an 18-hour day for someone else, for someone else's dream? Those are the type of hours, 12 to 18 hours. That's when you're working for yourself. Make no mistake about it. If you're working that kind of hour, unless you absolutely have to, you put in those type of hours, especially when they're getting paid little to nothing. Man, please. He said, Charles Zulu says OT hour. Yeah, that's way too many hours to be working those type of conditions for someone else. But I guess that's what they signed up for.
I woke up from 6:30 in the morning and I work until 11, non-stop.
From 6:30 to 11, non-stop. That's crazy.
So they did not pay me the first month, the second month.
So what do we keep hearing over and over again? They're not getting paid, right? These Arab guys are getting it for free, right? So it goes against everything they've been trying to tell you guys as far as what you got to pay. But they're getting all this, somebody getting all this free labor from them and everything else you can imagine. And up to and including they're taking their lives from them.
Then in the 10th month, I asked them, why you don't want to pay me?
Did she pay the money?
No, nothing.
No money?
No money.
No wages?
No.
So they're working 18 hours for nothing? Man.
I called the agent. I told him about the situation, and he told me, "You came here to work, not to play." I tried to explain to him, yes, I came to work, but the condition, the life I'm going through is not a normal life.
And then they don't even have any recourse. They don't even have a way to get out of it once they're there. It's amazing that they're still alive to tell that story, but you know, the ignorance is outrageous that they would still be going over there. It should only take one story like that for them to shut that down. But they have so little integrity and concern, unfortunately. And this is unfortunate, you know, that they're going through that. But at the same time, we got to point this stuff out because we need to redirect their attention, because for some reason they think it's sweet to start demonizing you guys' image at the expense of actually hurting themselves, because they're not signal boosting things like this, just like what Shadow Zulu said, which is if he wonders if they are broadcasting these videos to let the females know about these Arabic countries. Yeah, again, even if it's not the countries or the governments, it should be those women who got all these YouTube channels who want to come out of their face talking about you guys. They should at least be doing that. And yeah, let's get one more of these trafficking videos. From this one's from Zimbabwe. So to let you know, we ain't just picking on one African country; it's all over the continent. So that's why we got various countries. So this one is in Zimbabwe. So check this out.
Locally, Sylvia Chabikwa considered herself lucky when she boarded a Kuwait-bound plane on February 27th to begin work as a housemaid. It wasn't her dream job, but a way out of a hopeless situation.
I got recruited.
So why is her situation hopeless? So evidently there's something going on in her country, because she's, you know, like somebody pointed out earlier, I guess the men aren't taking them off the market, paying these dowries so that they don't have to do that. So what is it? So I guess she over there being strong and independent, but she can't make it in her own country for some reason. Maybe the infrastructure and the job opportunities are so limited that she's got to literally whore herself out, even though that may have not been her initial intention. But that's effectively what's going on, and she has to go and get treated like dirt and get paid probably less than what she would have gotten paid at home. Crazy.
By a Zimbabwean registered agent who said I could go work in Kuwait, and there are opportunities to find other work and to further my studies as well. He said it was a stepping stone to greater heights.
Sadly, it didn't work out that way. A promised salary of $600 turned out to be just $230 when she got there.
Oh, she was lucky. At least they gave her something. At least she got paid. She one of the few that looks like she got some type of money. I guess she should be happy.
And that wasn't the only lie she'd been fed.
They live in 3-story buildings. When I was still in Zim, I was told you would be 3 maids. To my surprise, I was the only one working in the house. It was
No, they meant to tell her she was going to be doing the work of 3 maids. They told her that there were going to be 3 maids, right? No, they didn't mention that she was all 3 of them. But anyway.
Too big. And I couldn't. Sorry, can't. I'm getting emotional.
Sorry. After collecting herself, Sylvia revealed more of the inhumane treatment.
Your food, they'll give you leftovers. You're not important. It's like you're slaved, because they even lock you up. Even if when they go out, they lock you up.
He said when you get horny, you back on the clock. Yeah.
You don't go anyway. The only thing that you do probably is just going outside to empty the bin. Then you come back and they'll be looking at you. You come back and you get locked up again. During my stay, I faced challenges like physical abuse because of language barrier, we couldn't understand each other. So I think these guys got so frustrated, and they would hit me if I don't understand or I don't do what they want me to say.
So they don't even have the decency to be talking to them in English, a language that they, would mutually understand, and then they'd be going up beside her head because they don't understand the Arabic that she don't even speak. Man.
I would work long hours. I would wake up around 4 a.m. in the morning, work until the next day, 2 a.m.
After just a week, she told her employers she wanted out, but was asked to pay them $3,000 to refund the money they'd spent to take her.
Damn, so it looked like she had to pay them a dowry. You see that? He said 3 times 8 hour 3 times 8 hours is 24 hours, so she is all 3 women. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, they told her there was going to be 3 maids, but they just didn't tell her that she was going to be the 3 maids. But you hear that though? She basically had to pay them because she wanted out of this situation. They said, okay, well, yeah, we'll let you out. You just got to pay them $3,000. So it looks like she the one paying it. So not only are them Arab guys not paying them a dowry, but they making them pay the dowry after they didn't work them like some horses.
Her there. She wasn't allowed to keep a cell phone, but through secret text messages with a friend back home, she managed to get the number for the Zimbabwean consulate, which finally stepped in to bring her back home.
It's very hard.
About time. Well, I guess shout out to Zimbabwe. They one of the few of their governments that actually are trying to help their women, because it's like Kenya sold them down the river and some of them other countries. So, she should be happy that she at least got her government to stand up for her, because otherwise she has been over there cleaning toilets for little or nothing, and actually having to pay them to do it. She got to pay them to clean their toilets.
But coming back home and not doing anything. But you would rather be home where you are safe, you are happy, you're not denied access to social life, you're not denied access to anything that you want. You don't have money, but
King Saint Red, you are wrong for that. Talking about she sharecropped her cooch, man. That is so wrong, bro. Sharecropping her cooch. Good gracious.
you feel the love from other people.
Sylvia is one of the lucky ones, rescued after a brief stay.
There are at least another 150 Zimbabwean women still stranded in Kuwait, facing similar and perhaps worse conditions. The government says it's doing all it can to bring them back, and is also going after those who helped traffic them.
Yeah, well, good luck with that, because unless you do an all-out ban, it ain't gonna happen, right? Yeah, like King Saint Red laughing at yeah, that's you out you out of order for that, bro. But anyway, yeah, but you guys see, right? That's what they dealing with. See, they dealing with that kind of stuff while at the same time their co-patriots are not talking about it the way they should. Crazy, man, crazy. But yeah, we got more, bro. Like I said, we gonna go in. I'm just, how I do. I'm gonna, we getting it in. Well, I'm gonna show you guys some stuff you hadn't seen. But he said Sampson says black men have helped so many black women by way of Essence Magazine, Black Enterprise, Jet Magazine, BET, The Source, HBCUs. It's really criminal how black women keep giving us shit if African women really knew the truth. Yeah, exactly. That is essentially the whole point here. And that's the reason why I'm even going in on these African women, because it's like I said in one of our earlier videos on this topic, I said what they're doing is they're sticking their toe in a pool thinking it's sweet. They think they could just stick their little crusty toes over in this pool, but there's sharks in this pool. There's guys like me. There's other guys like you who are going to give them that work, while at the same time pointing out the fact that they've hitched their wagons to a very dysfunctional, degenerate group of women, i.e. the feminized Western American black woman, And so they've been double crossed because a lot of these women, because these African women don't know what they've done. They're going down the road of destruction, following behind these Western women. And that's why a lot of them are going to come up missing, whether they're in the Middle East or in these other places, because they're trying to be these strong, independent women because they're following the lead of the West, and it's constantly leading them down this road of destruction. So yeah, that's the whole point. And I'm glad you pointed that out, Samson. But yeah, let's get some more, because like I said, we we got some more for you here. Let me get into some of these other situations, such as the mentality, that swirler mentality, how a lot of these women are literally seeking the same type of men that are doing this type of stuff to them. So let's check this woman out, see what she got to say.
Zungu, are you ready?
So this woman, I believe, is from Kenya or whatever, but she used the word Mzungu. And those of you who are already familiar with that term, or you caught our last video on this subject, Mzungu, it's basically, it means foreigner, but specifically it would be talking about white people. So she's making this video to tell her fellow African women on how to get a Mzungu, because apparently she has her one and she's trying to teach them how to get one as well. So let's take a look at a little bit of the actual things that they tell themselves. See, they ain't telling them how to get you, right? They're not telling each other how to land a good American black man. They just want to get somebody who's a Mzungu, whether he's from Europe or wherever, because they think that's the come up. That's their level up, right? And those be the very men that be exploiting them the most. But let's just see what she got to say. Yeah, go ahead, drink your little concentrated high fructose juice right there. Go ahead, enjoy yourself.
Hey guys. Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Giving Swinena. If you are new here, welcome to the family. Please consider subscribing, and if you are a returning subscriber, mwah. So today I'll be doing the most requested video. And
okay, so I want you to pay attention to that, right? She said that that's one of her most requested videos. So not only, she didn't just decide she was going to make this video. These are requests. So there's a bunch of women in her DMs or emailing her or what have you, begging, because they may have seen her post up with a, in their words, Mzungu. So she, made a video or something with him or took a picture with him. So they said they want to know how they can get them one. So they requested for her to make this video to tell them how to do it, right? So we're gonna hear a little bit of what she got to say before we move on to the next one.
this happened after I introduced my boyfriend in this channel.
Yes, he told you. Yeah, she introduced her boyfriend, who just happens to be a Mzungu, and they all want to get a piece of that.
So, as you already know, I am in an interracial relationship. So, and so many people have been asking me. I was checking actually on Facebook, on YouTube, on my previous video, how can I get a Mzungu? How can I date a white man? Can you please connect me? So to make it clear, guys, I don't have any connection, but I can give you tips, and that's why today I am here. So we are going to do the most requested video today. So how to get a Mzungu. Are you ready? Are you ready? So there are different reasons why people want to date outside their race. Everybody, they have their own preference, okay? It doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter because of.
But when you guys have a preference, it's demonized, right? So she said it's a reason. See, when it's them, then all of a sudden it's just about preference, and that's perfectly fine. But when you guys have a preference, then you're demonized for it. You're like, oh, well, that's his preference. And then they, if something goes wrong, then they want to throw that up in your face, right? So it's kind of funny how that all works.
Money, it doesn't matter because of skin color, it doesn't matter.
Apparently it does, because that's why they're blowing up your DMs or your emails, because, I guess color does matter to them.
You have the right to go after what you want, whether you are a
Unless it's one of you guys, because then you get demonized for it. But anyway.
lady, a man, you have the right to date someone that you really wish to have in your life.
Yeah, so let's get past this. I want you to hear at least one of her tips, what she says, right? Let me fast forward to that.
Your race. Number one, you must be, what exactly are you looking for? You must define what exactly do you want. And
they already told you what they want. They want a white man. That's what they want.
Number one, how can you date someone who is outside your race? Number one, you have to stop being comfortable. If you live in Nairobi, in areas where you have never seen a white guy, darling, he's not coming there. You better go where they are. Explore. Go to, like, in places like Nairobi, you can try, you go where they are, like in Karen, in Westlands, in Lavington, and other places. You can also explore. Just in short, as a lady, I'll be talking through my experience. As a lady, you need to learn to be comfortable alone. You need to learn to love yourself, to treat yourself, so that even when the man come into your life, he will know how to treat you.
But you notice they have all this good advice when someone is saying that they want to go outside, right? You ever notice that? Same thing with the diversers. And it's amazing how they mirror each other, right? The ones in the West were the diversers, and these continental African women, they all seem to go from the same playbook, how they all have all these great strategies, or you got to love yourself, you got to be a lady, you got to go to the right places. Do you see them giving that type of advice when it comes to you guys? I'm just asking. And that's the reason why I want you guys to see that, because I want you to see the flip side of the type of advice that they're giving each other. And a lot of these women who are making these requests, they're not asking her about how to find a good man in general. They just want him to be a bunzugu, if you notice. So it's just like this situation right here, where I'm going to show you.
Now,
yeah, we dealt with this one before. I think for some of the people who didn't see it before, because I think we got some new people in the building. This woman right here, we're gonna play a little bit of what she got to say. She liked the whites, as she say.
I think I love the whites. I love them. Love.
There you go. She's Nigerian, by the way.
They are just natural. I have a friend I would love to marry a white. I think I'm having that in mind too, but let it be the will of God.
So yeah, that's what the mentality is, guys. So and she ain't alone. It's a bunch of them, right? So most of these women here that you see in these interviews, they're basically saying similar things. You got a few of them trying to say that they don't want to do that, but I think they were the minority. And again, preference is preference, right? But what we're pointing out with this whole thing is the fact that a lot of these women are ignoring the negative experiences that they're having with these guys, such as this, for example. So they're ignoring situations like this. And so for some of you guys who have not seen this, I'm going to play this for you. And we're going to play some more clips along this line about the type of degeneracy that's going on. So they got stuff like this going on over there.
TV Kenya.
You are there like a dog. What did I do? Okay. What did I do?
Now where is the baby?
The baby is in his house. work because every time he does wrong things, the police they come and they take me out. And I was almost to lose my baby. He haven't even married me. I gave him every kind of sex. Even my ass, you idiot, motherfucker. He even brought me an infected HIV chick. And now you want to run away.
Yeah, if you guys can't understand that, this woman is young. This guy looks all of about 60 years old. She looks like she's still probably in her teens, early 20s. And it's so crazy because she said that he basically knocked her up and gave her HIV. So he gave her the extra package right there. But this right here is the type of munzugus that they end up with. But you saw the other lady creating all these different narratives on how they could get them one. So I'm telling you, bro, that's what's going on over there. And they really are going out of their way to get with guys like this. So those are the good type of guys that they end up with. But let's get a little bit more, because I just wanted to show you guys that. Some of you seen it already, but I'm gonna, we're gonna play you some stuff that you have not seen. So let's go over here and get some of this. This is about to get crazy. But I want you to start understanding that a lot of the decisions that these women are making, they're doing a lot of immoral stuff over there, and the sex work is off the chain. These women are doing all kinds of crazy stuff for little or nothing, and we're going to delve into that. And I'm going to point out something that I think has probably not been shown in this space, but I'm going to build it up by giving you guys a little bit of background on just kind of the underbelly of what they've been doing as far as the sex work over there. But check this out.
Last week, I slept with 50 men.
Did you hear that? She said last week, this one right here, said she slept with 50 men. And that's just in a week. Okay? But that's what you guys got to pay a dowry for.
I only use condoms for 5 men.
So she had raw dog sex with 50 dudes. Only 5 of them did she use protection with. So 45 dudes was busting her down, probably skeeted up in her, and you got to pay a dowry for stuff like that. And her name has the name, she got a nerve to have Queenie in her name. So her name is Queenie Malungu. But Queen is in her name, guys. So go get your queen.
If a truck drivers have more money, we don't force him to use a condom.
So the driver will give you more money without a condom?
They give more money, yes.
So it says trying to make ends meet can be deadly. More than 15% of adults are infected with HIV in 7 Southern African countries. Crazy. Dude, at this point, it sounds like you're playing roulette. And they talking about dowries, man. I mean, please. You're taking a risk with some of these women because you don't know what they done did. That's a high rate of HIV, but we see why.
Yeah, the problem with the border is too much congestion, and also they are too slow to process our papers. You spend a lot of time here, you're tired, nothing to do. What else can you do except drinking and having a female friend alongside? For the past week.
Yeah, so them truck drivers, I guess that's their version of paying the dowry right there. So crazy. And Shadow Zulu says her name should be Queen, not Queen. Yeah, that term Quean, exactly. Yeah, not the other Queen. But yeah, but I just felt that was ironic that her name was Queen. But yeah, let's get some more, because yeah, that's just one example. It's gonna get worse. So let me pull out some more right here. And let me show you guys this. We just, because we're dealing right now with the degeneracy, the sexual deviancy that's going on with a lot of these women, right? And they got this thing over here, right? That some of these people have been caught literally in the act. And I don't think you guys are familiar with this, and that you've seen this before, because it was kind of surprising to me too. But did you know that some of these people over there, and it's an actual scientific thing, I didn't even know about this myself, But sometimes during the act, the woman's vagina can lock up and then they get stuck together. So some of these cases, some of these men that were busting down some of these men's wife, who, you know, the guys who paid the dowry, some of these dudes that were coming to bust them down, they got stuck in their wife. So I'm going to show you this. I told you, man, we exposing some stuff tonight. This is crazy. But check this out.
When the rubber meets the road, the ride will definitely be rough, as it were for these two lovebirds. What was supposed to be a quiet moment of pleasure ended up being a moment of agony and public shame, as they sought help from all and sundry. Residents of Darajambili in Kisii County were literally forced to carry the married woman and single man in their beddings from the West Gauge bar, where they were engaging in extramarital affair, to a witch doctor.
Kina mama muache kushikana na wazee, mama atumie mume wake peke yake.
The woman's husband had sought the services of the witch doctor on suspicion that his wife, who is a trader at Darajambili, was not very faithful. And indeed, the witch doctor's concoction caught the lady with her pants down literally. Despite pleas by the woman for help and to be set free, the witch doctor insisted that the man in question had to pay a fine. And with the harsh economic times, the man was not able to immediately raise the money as demanded by the witch doctor. And the rubber meets the road.
So I guess this, you know, I guess that juju does have something, because he must have put something in her vagina or something that got him stuck in there so that he can exploit the dude. But unfortunately, he didn't have no money to pay. So, you know, he was kind of stuck in the man's wife. But yeah, told you it's crazy. And that ain't the only instance, because like I said, we researched this and it's actually a thing. And there's other examples as well. So let me show you that. So this is one, and I'm gonna show you. Let's see how many other examples we got of that. Yeah, where these guys are getting stuck in these married women. So that, I think that was in one place, and here's it happening in another situation. Check this out. So it looked like he was in it from the back or whatever, and he got they stuck, so they had to come get him up out of there, and then it's just one big public spectacle. But yeah, that's what the dowry gets, you know. So her husband or whoever it was that paid that dowry, I wonder if he can get his money back, because she got cold busted with another dude's Johnson stuck in her.
Okay, Safini, okay.
Yeah, so you saw it, right? But here it is, right here. They showed this couple of idiots, but I think you can see where. Let me see if I get. Yeah, you see he's behind her, but they're stuck together. So he was hitting from the back, and he got stuck. He said, "She's your queen to be free from infection." No, I think they got plenty of infection, bro. But yeah, but that's your queen right there. There she goes. She was a married woman, and that was the guy that was hitting it. You see the position he's in, and they got stuck, and you know, they had to call for help and get paraded through the village or whatever. Yeah, so I hope you guys are stacking them dowries, stacking that money, so you can go to the motherland and get you one of them women who gonna get your money and be busting down other dudes, getting stuck and humiliating her and your entire family. There you go. And Shadow Zulu says Numbers chapter 5 in the Bible teaches you how to make a woman's belly sweet. or yeah, sweet, and her thy rot who commits adultery. I always tell cats don't mess with married women. Exactly. Very good point. Yeah, swell. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, they got all them home remedies over there and stuff. Yeah, I believe there's something to it. Exactly. And I definitely advocate that here. And that's one of the things I believe I put on the Manalytics, because we have a series called Manalytics where we're teaching men values and things like that and how you guys should be moving. And one of the things that I very much a strong advocate for is for you guys to not mess with married women. Not because you're just going to get stuck and be made a fool of like what happened to them dudes, but because it's morally wrong. I personally turned down married women, and it's not the thing to do. And I think that's the ultimate simp move for you as a man to be sleeping with another man's wife when there's so many other women out there. So that shout out to you, shout out Zulu, because you're definitely in tune with the values that we put over here. Yeah, I'm familiar with that scripture as well, bro. So I know what you're saying. So you're exactly right. And Rehama says, so was this done by another witch doctor? I'm not sure. I know the other story, they said it was a witch doctor involved, but whatever the thing was, it's obviously something that happens, right? And I did hear that there is some type of thing that can happen with the woman can lock down on you like that. So there is something to it. But let's get some more, because now we're about to go deep with more of this chicanery and this the debauchery that's going on over there that they be trying to hide. But let's get some more. And oh yeah, let's look at this. I'm gonna play this one again.
20-year-old.
Some of you guys are new in the building. You didn't see this, so I'm gonna play this little quick clip of this woman who got knocked down by this Chinese dude. I want you guys to see this. Those of you who've not seen it, this is short. So those of you who've seen it already, just bear with the people who haven't seen it. But I want them to see this because it's very relevant to the topic. And Shadow Zulu says something similar happened in Haiti in the 80s about a married woman committing adultery. Yeah, King saying red busting up. But yeah, I don't know if you've seen this already, bro. But check this out.
Trisha Njeri is in no hurry to go anywhere regardless. Seemingly oblivious of the attention she's attracting for her and her baby, she remains indifferent. At 20 years with a 2-month-old baby, all she wants is to find the man who fathered her child. A Chinese national who is allegedly among those contracted to build the Thika superhighway. Her baby, she says, is a chip of...
So there you go. So she can't say that some African dude did that. you know damn well what's going on right there. And Ray Hammond says, that's part of my moral code and my fear of God. I fear God too much to mess with married women. Plus, it's not holy. Yeah, exactly. And not healthy, apparently, nowadays. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's definitely in tune with our value system over here. We do not advocate that. We against it. You should not mess with a married woman. And I speak from personal experience in terms of me having married women come on to me in my past. And on my main channel, I've told some specific stories in terms of what happened. And speaking of which, I forgot to say this in the beginning, but my main channel has 2 strikes because we've been kind of going in. I was doing some commentary on boxing, and I did a video that looked like it was going viral, and the company that owned the footage that we used, they put 2 strikes. I used 2 videos because I was going in on Fury, and I guess they didn't like it. So I'm probably gonna, for those of you who might be double subscribed, I may not be putting content over there in a while. I got to see if I get those 2 strikes off. So I just wanted to mention that because I meant to say that in the beginning. But yeah, so I just wanted to mention that. But anyway, let's get it. Oh, Shadow Zulu says, why don't they use their sorcery to find the Chinese guy who busted up in her? I guess it only works on black men. Yeah, that's the only time they threaten with that juju, because it only worked just like if the juju was what it got them stuck together, right? The Judo did. How come that Chinese dude didn't get stuck inside that 20-year-old who is this woman right here holding his baby? See, that would have been perfect because then he couldn't have got away, right? But now he's somewhere at the Great Wall of China chilling, while she walking around with a flashlight in the daytime looking for this guy. Got all these African dudes on the job site looking for them, like a scene out of the movie Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. They're sitting up there looking for this guy, and he long gone. But yeah, that's a very good point, Shadow Zulu. Where's all the juju at?
The old block.
And once again, I got to ask the question, where was the dowry? See, it'd be okay if the Chinese would have dropped off a little something, but he did. He just dropped off that little deposit, knocked her up, busted her down, and he's out. That's why she's looking for him, because she didn't get the dowry.
Huyu mtoto kwa hakika anaonekana ni Mchina kabisa, ni China.
She only remembers his name, Kshu.
So she let a dude bust her down in the back of an Uber. Didn't even know none but his first name, but we supposed to believe that these women got all these traditional values, right? So they got all these traditional values, but she let herself get busted down by a Chinese dude that she only knew his name. And I doubt if he even spoke the language well. He probably barely spoke English. And she didn't even know his name, but she knew enough to where she was going to let him bust in her raw. And now she walking around here like a goofy, carrying some half Chinese baby, looking stupid. Got these African dudes out here taking time away from their job to take care of their families to help her with her little bad decisions. Ridiculous.
Finding him remains her only ticket out of the struggle that raising the child alone has become, and better still, the only chance to go back to school. And it is here in unfamiliar territory that she engages the workers who have downed their tools to shift their
Yeah, Shao Zulu, he gave her the shoe and the boot.
attention to seeing if they can place the baby to the father, except they're just as baffled as she is, with some of the contractors making no apologies for distancing themselves with the baby, clearly wanting to have no business with the
That Chinese man's like, nope, it ain't mine. That might be the daddy for all they know.
unfolding drama. Patricia claims she was impregnated by the Chinese worker on an evening when he offered her a lift in his car as she was on her way home from school, a trip that did not follow.
Ray Hammer says saving this stream now. Yeah, it ain't even over yet, bro. So, I don't know if you can save it yet since we're still streaming. We're going to be wrapping up soon. But yeah, we got some more. So, yeah. So appreciate that, that you want to archive it. But yeah, we try to back up our stuff too, just in case. But anyway, yeah, let's get it.
The original cause of events. She ended up pregnant, an eventuality that forced the then Form 3 student to drop out of Murera High School.
I don't really like today's topic because it's very annoying that a number of white men, Chinese men, have come to Africa, fathered kids, then abandoned those kids with their mothers.
So you notice she's specifically pointing out who's the culprit, right? But why don't we see all these videos going in the way they're going in on you guys? That's all I'm asking. She's giving you the numbers right there. She's telling you that who it is. She said it's the white dudes, whether they're from Europe or America, and then the Chinese dudes. She's telling you right there that what you guys just saw is not a one-off, right? It's an epidemic, and it's all over the continent. But these broads are coming out there, and they got all this to say about y'all. And Shadow Zulu says, I don't know if you make this video unlisted, will they still strike your channel? Well, see, this channel ain't got the strikes. It's my main channel. Because I got a main channel that I was doing commentary on boxing. I'm just saying that if we got 2 strikes over there because they didn't like how I was going in on Fury or something. So they gave me 2 strikes. And because one of the videos we made, I made a short and it was about to go viral. I mean, I got like the highest views I got. It was going into 20,000 views. And they hit my channel over there. So I don't want to put no content over there right now because I was going to put some more stuff over there, but I'm trying to fight them 2 strikes. Because I think if you get 3 strikes, they'll take your channel down. And I had to disassociate this channel with the main one because I didn't want this one to get dragged down. So that's why some of you may have saw that I had it linked to the main channel, but I had to separate it. So it's crazy. But yeah, thankfully we had a strike before, but on this channel, but I think it's gone now. So that is good. So we're trying to work our way out of that. But you said you should put up fair use. Well, they still gonna get you, even if you say that, because they still have a right to that. That don't stop them. Because even though I was using fair use, but they still they still tried to get us. But you said Chinese too small to get stuck. Yeah, maybe that's the only reason why the juju don't work, right? We too big, so that's how the juju is tailored towards us, but it don't work for them.
It's just sad because these women are target to these men. They're the best target because they're young, they're naive, they are not, they're illiterate. So these white men find this.
And then she's trying to make it seem like they're just these innocent girls getting taken advantage of. No, the girl was 20 years old. She knew what she was doing. And what happened to her values? Wasn't she supposed to be raised? Didn't she have a father and a mother? The same thing that they try to demonize you guys for that you just all abandoning your families and all of this stuff. Well, where's her father? Where's the traditional village values? It takes a village to raise a child. How come she didn't get instilled with the right values to know her worth, and that she wouldn't get busted down by some Chinese dude that just ran off and didn't give her the dowry? How come she didn't know better? But they sitting up here trying to frame it still like they're just these innocent victims. And you said all she wanted was a mixed baby. Yep. Or something. Maybe she thought since he was Chinese, he was going to, give her some money as well. But, she was wrong. She got it wrong there. So it's crazy. But yeah, those of you who've seen that already, thank you for that. But I wanted some of the guys to go ahead and see that. Charles Zulu said, "What's the link to your main channel?" Yeah. You know what? Let me. Well, the name of the channel is Counselor Mr. G. I don't have the link because I'm doing a live right now. So I want to. I might see if I can. Maybe before I close out, put it in there. But right now I got some videos I'm going to load, so I don't want to put in a link right now. But yeah, it's just Counselor Mr. G. And if you just put that in the search, and I'll come up. I think I'm the only one out there. So if you want to check it out. But yeah, let me get you guys some more, because this is another thing I'm going to point out to you guys. Just like with that stuck in them, I don't think you've seen that before. I'm going to hit you with something else I don't think you've seen before we wrap up. And this is also crazy, and we're going to fully expose a lot of the BS that they be doing over there and how they were trying to project things. But I want you to watch this, right? This to me shows the fact that they're their own worst enemy in terms of all the degeneracy that they're trying to project onto you guys. They're doing it themselves. Did you guys know, and I'm about to show receipts for what I'm about to say. Did you guys know that there's a huge underground trafficking that's going on, and the ones that are controlling this trafficking are Nigerian women? That's right. Some of the biggest pimps, or female pimps as they call them, the madams, if you will, are Nigerian women. Because we all know about the classic Nigerian scammers, right? It's normally the dudes, right, that do the Nigerian prince scams or the romance scams and all that. But the Nigerian women are the ones who control a lot of the trafficking that goes on from Nigeria through Italy, through Brussels, and all these different European countries. And I'm going to show you some receipts. These women are sitting up here, got all this to say, but they are literally sex trafficking their own fellow African women in something to rival the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade. It's crazy. And they got these women in all kind of crazy conditions. And yeah, you got it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's the main channel, bro. Feel free to check it out. Thank you. He said, Ray Hammond said, that's my first time seeing that shit. But certain shows like True Blood and Salam have revealed some real crazy things. Yeah, I told you, man, we're going in tonight. So I showed you guys that, and I'm hitting you with this other fact that a lot of people don't know. But a lot of the trafficking that goes on with those African women in those European countries, and those women are getting taken totally advantage of. Man, they getting bust down. They doing all kind of crazy stuff. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you. So let me load these clips for you before we wrap up. But yeah, check this one out. Check this out. But they ain't said nothing. And this is probably on this channel right here, on this broadcast right here, is the first time you've ever heard someone bring out the fact that it is Nigerian women that are controlling the trafficking of a lot of African women to these European countries. It's them. Not American black men, the way they keep trying to go in on you guys, but it's them. And let me show you. Here's an example.
Girls in underwear pose in squalid rooms of converted shops along the narrow streets near Brussels' Gare du Nord. African women sell their bodies for as little as €20, barely half the rate charged by Western prostitutes.
So, a lot of these women, they're over there and they're getting half. They're selling themselves for half the price, basically. So they want you to pay the full dowry. We're gonna keep throwing that back up in their face, right? We're gonna, as we're exposing them, we're gonna keep throwing that up in their face. So they over in Europe selling fire sale coochie, right? Discounted coochie, half the price, but that's what they're doing over there.
They
make big gestures to try and attract us. Regarding the price, these women are ready to do a lot of things for little money.
So he's saying they're willing to do a lot of things for little money, right? Okay.
You can see that they're nervous, the women who need to get the money. Sometimes I wonder if they're 18 years old because they seem to be very young.
And that's another thing. A lot of them are underage as well. But those Nigerian women, as they're going to point out, are the ones that's basically pimping them. And they guerrilla pimping too. And those of you guys who are familiar with that term, yeah, you know, if you know, you know. But they guerrilla pimp, so they don't even give a damn. They just trying to bust them girls down and get as much money as they can from them. And I'm going to show you another clip that's going to show you the type of conditions that they're working under, and it is disgusting. But let's continue.
Nigerian prostitutes number in their hundreds in Belgium, all victims of human trafficking. Some are just 14 years old, a problem that's growing in the country. It's a brothel madam who contacts families who are often relatively poor.
Now you hear what she just said, right? She said it's a brothel madam, or another name for a female pimp. They're the ones that even contact the family, right?
Promising a great future for the girls. They'll go to school, they'll be babysitters.
So they're lying to the family, talking about they're going to go to school, they're going to be babysitters and all that. Okay.
And they make a contract with a voodoo ritual that will commit the girl to repaying the debts, which...
And so there they go. That's when the juju works again, right? So the juju don't work on the Chinese or the Arabs or the Muzungus. It works on the American black dudes, and it works on those girls who they want to traffic, because they say that they got to go into this contract to pay the money back, which is crazy because they're pimping them out and they're the ones making them pay. Crazy.
Be fixed between 40 and 70,000 euros.
That's a lot of money for an African.
The ritual makes sure that she fills the life of her mother, her siblings, and her own life is in her hands, so she must repay it. The police say they'll tackle the problem head-on, but the reality is that it's a vicious cycle that's difficult to get out of. The girls are often exploited by former prostitutes who've become pimps. Once their debts repaid after many years, these girls become madams themselves.
You see, it's such a vicious cycle. So what she's saying is these women are exploiting each other, and then they turn them out, and then after they can no longer get busted down because they're too worn out, they basically start exploiting other women. So they're not trying to help each other and put them up on game and make videos the way they want to demonize you guys and your image. They rather turn into pimps themselves and further exploit those girls themselves. And they are the main ones that control that whole industry. And then King C and Red said, wonder if Harpo spelled backwards is involved in the trafficking. Yeah, you know what, bro? That's a very good question. And I would not be surprised if that's the case, to be honest. But yeah, and to show you this isn't just a one-off, as you should have seen from that right there. But we got more. We got more. It ain't just a one-time situation. And in this one, in this particular clip, I believe we're going to show you the conditions that some of these women are in, right? And this comes from the AP, Associated Press. So we're using reputable sources as well. So just to guys let you know, these are official documents. We ain't making up, because like I said in the description of this video, they're attacking you guys' image with propaganda and lies, but we're hitting them back with the truth. And we're going to see who image is standing at the end of this. Since they want to come after you guys with all these lies, we're going to use the truth. So let's get it. I just have to pause that real quick. So look at that, bro. That's where they're getting busted down at. Look how disgusting that place is. Look how disgusting that is. That is the type of guerrilla pimping that these, because what you're going to learn in this particular story is that it's those Nigerian women, just like you saw in the other clip. It's them that control this. And these are the type of facilities they built this little place right at the side of the road. Got them women, as you saw, running up and down the street in their drawers with their cheeks all out, so they can get busted down real quick for $20 or whatever, or 20 euros, in a place like this that's filthy, condoms all on the ground. And that's how they getting treated out there at the hands of the madams or the female pimps, which are mostly Nigerian women. But this is the type of conditions they got these women in, and they got them out there on the track. Disgusting.
I was very, very afraid. If I now go, what's going to become of me? So I refused to go, but it was called me. Precious, you don't have any choice. This is what is going on. This is how it's going to be. You need to prostitute. It's 50 years.
Oh my God. How much did she say?
She said I should pay 20,000 euros. I was to pay 20,000 euros.
Well, she said, and that's her pimp, right? This woman, this other woman, this fellow sister, this Nigerian woman said she got to pay 50,000 euros. So she got her over there. She's pimping her, and she says, I guess if she wants to get her freedom back, she got to pay her 50,000 euros. So that's a lot of tricking, and that's a lot of, especially at $20 a pop, in that little messed up side of the road house with all those used condoms on the ground. She got to get busted down up in there 50,000 euros worth of times for her to get her freedom, basically.
I was like, no problem, because I really don't have any choice. I just arrived. I don't know how to go.
She said no problem because she ain't got no choice, right? So that's her fate now.
I don't know where to go. I was very, very confused. I was frustrated at that moment. I was, is this the kind of life I'm planning for myself? Is this how I'm going to end it? So there was one.
That's absolutely disgusting. Even as a man, I don't even know how these guys can even be going in there. Would any of you guys go up in a place like that, even just to bust something down, man? That is disgusting up in there, much less from a woman's standpoint, for them to be laying on their back or whatever in that type of condition, even as a man. I don't know what kind of dudes is busting them down, but man, they ain't got no options better than that.
One thing that a white man released inside the condom, it's very horrible. What if this thing enter inside of me? Maybe I would just, same with my friend here. She said a white man release blood. She see it. When I told my mother, she buy me red condom so that if they release anything, I will not be seeing it again. So,
dude, bro, did you understand what she just said? That was absolutely disgusting. She said something about, I guess, some guys coming in there and there was blood. I guess he was bleeding or something, and they were still having sex, and then they're, in order for her not to see it, then the madam, the female pimp, the Nigerian female pimp, just gave her a red condom just so she wouldn't notice the blood. I mean, that is outrageous. That is disgusting. He said there's a lot of nasty cats out there. They will bust in any condition. Yeah, those are those guys in Europe. Those guys in Italy and all these, I think they're in Italy right here or wherever, these European countries. Yeah, they just pull it because they got these little tents or whatever on the side of the road over there in the bushes, and these guys are just driving up and down these secluded roads, and what they're doing is out there in their drawers, right, walking up and down the street. So what they'll do is pull over, bust them down in those disgusting conditions, and they hop back in the car. But what she just said was disgusting because she said something about somebody was bleeding, and then the madam or the female Nigerian pimp just gave her a red condom to kind of blend in with the blood. I mean, that's insane. But anyway, that's the type of conditions these women are under at the hands of other Nigerian women. But they got all this smoke for you.
That's it. It's very risky.
And do stuff properly. So one of my
The only way they can make money, because they don't have legal documents, is through the sex trade, according to the pimps, who are Nigerian women known as madams.
Did you guys hear that? Let's play that again. Because the way they talking about you guys, you would think that the pimps were American black men doing this to them. But let's see who the pimps are.
Money, because they don't have legal documents, is through the sex trade, according to the pimps, who are Nigerian women known as madams, who essentially own several girls in a sort of stable of women, keep them in houses, whether they're in and around Naples, whether they're in the north of the country.
Yeah, so those women, those Nigerian women, are the ones who are trafficking and controlling the entire trade. Not even the men, it's the women, because it's the women that can garner the trust, and they are former 304s themselves. So what they do, like I showed you in the other clip, once they retire, instead of them saying, well, we don't want these younger women to come up in the same hell that we came up, we're going to teach them something better. No, they're going to turn around and exploit them. And because they know the game and they got all the Johns or whatever, they got everything on lock, and they just need a steady stream of these girls. They go lie to their families or whatever, and they're the ones that control the entire trade, from Nigeria to Italy to Brussels and all these different, I'm sure in France and all of, they are the ones who are controlling that trafficking. It's them. Now I'm sure some of the men are involved as well, but the women have an inside track on this because, again, they were former 304s, if not still 304s. The only thing is they got aged out of the game because they busted down. Right now nobody else wants them, so they just, instead of them putting themselves out there, they just exploiting those other women. But let's get it.
Depending on what community they're in, the madam determines what the girl will owe. Say she owes 35,000 euro. That seems to be right now what girls owe when they get across the sea, when they end up working for a madam. The going rate for a Nigerian woman for fellatio is 10 to 15 euro. For a simple hand job is 5.
Man, she being awfully specific, but those are the rates. But that don't sound like a very large dowry to me for them to be going exploited and getting busted down in tents on the side of the road with a bunch of used condoms everywhere. It seems like a lot of those European guys are getting a bargain. What do you guys think?
To 10 euro, and for intercourse is 20 euro. She can charge double if the man doesn't wear a condom.
So that's even on the table. That's an option with all the diseases and everything going on, for the right price, which is, because just to get busted down by these guys with a condom, I guess is 20 euro. But I guess if he gives a 40 or maybe even 30 euro, he can go raw. So that's basically the type of dowry that they're paying up in Europe. And they out there, they got them bras out there so long, they got lawn furniture sitting out there, so they could just, when they get tired of walking up and down the track, they got chairs out there. So you know they out there a long time. They got them posted up in chairs, sitting up out there. Crazy. Rayama says, no sound. Yeah, I think in this particular clip, bro, they just showing them. So I don't know if you can hear the traffic going by, but yeah, there's what they're doing is just showing them how they're posted up, like sitting in the chairs and walking up and down. So right now they're not really talking. So I think that's probably what you're referring to. But let's get it.
Persone che non vengono riconosciute vengono rispedite qua. Ok? O negli altri.
So he's talking now. So Rayhama, can you hear that? So I think on that particular clip, they were just showing scenes of them walking up and down the street and sitting down. So now you might be able to hear it. I hope you can hear me, right? But yeah, let me finish playing this before we wrap up.
Paesi dell'Africa o qualcuno riesce a passare per Tamarra 7 qui in Algeria abbia un'età che va dai 16 a 7 anni fino a massima 24 anni e questo accade perché evidentemente sono.
No, he's speaking Italian, but let me get back to the English. Hold on.
What will I tell my parents? What will I tell my mother? And even me too. How will I start it? I don't know. She was threatening me that if I refuse, she's going to send me back to Nigeria. She's going to take me to the Carabinieri, the police here, that I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So I was very scared. I didn't even know anything. I was just like, what will I do? Let me just do it. And she forced me to. That they cannot contact their lawyer that they are using. They are going to. They take me there to swear. There's one shrine that is there. They said if I refuse to pay her money, the spirit that is in this cemetery, they are going to make me mad and they are going to make my life miserable.
Yeah. And let me show you something else, guys, because I'm showing you the whole process, right? I'm showing you how these women get taken in by these Nigerian women, these madams, these female pimps, and they get put into this trafficking, and they put them under this requirement that they got to pay so much money. And once they finally paid, then they turn around and do the same thing. Now, for the women who don't get off into that life and the ones that come back after they done got busted down by hundreds of these European dudes who are busting in them raw and all that, and guess what they have the nerve to do? They go back to their countries and they infect other guys. So let me show you this, because you may be wondering why the HIV rates and all this are so high. Is because you have a revolving door of these women going to these countries, getting these into situations like this, and then once they get out the game, if they don't decide to turn around and put other women in the game, then what they do is just become regular women, and then they start dealing with dudes. And then they start doing stuff like this. Let me show you. So we're giving you the 360 analysis over here, right? We're giving you the full, from start to finish, the cycle of what these women are doing. And check this out right here. Watch how these women turn around and they start dealing with regular dudes, giving them HIV. Watch this. Let me see if I can load this clip right here. And I'm sure this broad right here is a former 304. It's not a current one, but you see the lifestyle that they've been subjected to, but then they go right back to their communities with that package. Check this out.
Mimi Lynn sikuenda nikaokota, si ndio? Nilienda nikaipata through sexual act. I did not know by then I should wear a condom. Condom was nothing to me then, so I never knew what condom was. Luckily.
So she's claiming she didn't even know what a condom was, much less using one. So I mean, how many bodies do you think she's racked up without using a condom, right?
I never got pregnant to your time when I became sick. Yeah.
Okay. Hizo siku maybe ukiwa na client kabla ulale na yeye ulikuwa unamwambia uko na AIDS?
No.
Kwa nini?
Kwa sababu there's a time I dated someone who's kind of prominent. Not dated, it was a one night stand. So
Yeah, you notice how she went from dated to one night stand, right? Wow.
Aniambia mimi nataka tupimwe, na hata tukishapimwa azin alikuja na hizo test kits na condom. So venye alikuja nazo tukapima, yangu ikakuja positive, yake ikakuja negative. Na sasa hapo ndio unaombaga Mungu si miracle tu ifanyike, at least one line in front of this man, you know, but it came out tu yake moja.
Now she was just nasty, man. She just didn't want to use them. She know damn well what a condom was.
But we had sex with a condom. So at the end of the day, Lina, si kwa ubaya, I cannot be your keeper, si ndio? You know, you do not know me. I'm not related to you. You want to have sex with me. Why don't you wear a condom? And if not wearing a condom, ask me for a test if I'm comfortable. If I'm not comfortable, let's wear a condom. Yeah.
And shout out to Israel Online. He ain't in the building tonight, but when he gets his playback, he gonna remember when he told us that he was on our site, and one of the women, I think it was a Kenyan woman like this, who told him that she was HIV positive on their site. I'm like, well, bro, at least she did you the favor, man. That was, truth in advertising, but it's so prominent over there that they don't think nothing of putting that on even on a dating site. And he was like, why is she even there? And we agree. Why would she even be on the website? But just like this woman, she's openly having sex with guys and she's HIV positive. She probably had the same type of experiences of those women that we just showed in the previous clips. But now she's just out there in the quote dating pool, letting dudes hit it raw.
So una feelingi wanaume wanakutumia ama mnatumiana?
Kitambo I would say walikuwa kinitumia, and even right now, as long as Lin,
So excuse, they're using English and I guess Kiswahili, so at least I hope you guys can understand at least enough of what she's saying. But essentially, she's just basically talking about her experiences of getting busted down without condoms and how she basically, I believe the title of this video, that she infected like 15 guys or something like that. So I'm trying to get to that point, but that's basically the story behind what she got to say.
Not giving me money, why would you sleep with me? At the end of the day, nyumba yako si unanunulia bibi yako kila kitu and the house is paid for. Mi unakuja ulale na mimi kwangu kwa nyumba yangu. You do not even leave anything in my house. How do you expect me to feel? At the end of the day, I'm paying rent, I'm paying electricity, water, everything that I do, I use money. But you come, you sleep with me, you just leave me like that.
See, that's what the dowry is for. See, that's why you're supposed to be getting married to the guy. But apparently she's entitled to feel like, if the guys, whoever she's quote dating or whatever, they're supposed to give her some money because he's sleeping with her, right? Well, since you want to give it up to the guy without being married and your family's not there to demand a dowry because apparently he wants to get it for free. And I thought that was only what you guys did, right? According to those African women who are out there making those goofy videos, they were claiming that American men are the ones coming to getting it for free. But this Kenyan woman is saying the same thing about a Nigerian man, apparently.
Tumia protection, but at the end of the day, my friend, si muenda kazi ndio nipate pesa ya kulipa bills zangu. Why would you come to my house and use me and not give me anything? Yeah.
Ulikuwa umeniambia the reason unataka kukaa kwa hii kiti ni wanaume wajue your status, yes, and they stop approaching you. Kwa nini?
Kwa sababu mimi ninakuaga na shida ya huku chini. Unaona hata hizo time zote nikijiu, even with huyu mwenye alinifungulia kinyozi, nilikuwa na I'm not interested in sex.
You don't feel anything?
No.
Yeah, not no more because that thing worn out and it's full of HIV or whatever. But yeah, basically I was looking for that part where she said she basically infected 15 guys, right? So she was now she don't want to have sex no more after she done threw that disease thing to the community and then infected 15 guys, and then the other guys, there's no telling how many they infected, right? So it's just one endless cycle. But yeah, that's type of stuff they're doing, guys. So be aware. Be very aware, especially you guys that want to go over there. Don't be like those goofy Negroes getting out here talking about, oh, the African women, they better. They didn't know. Y'all better be specific because you're going to run into something like that. You better be careful. I think we got a couple more clips before we wrap up. Let me see what I want to hit you with. We got so many. We're going to have to do a part 4. The part 4 you're gonna be fire as well, because we got some more stuff we're gonna be unleashing here. Here's another one right here. And if being, because what do we deal with, right? We've been showing how they get down in Africa, on the continent. We showing how they get down in Europe. You know how they get down in America. But did you know that a lot of those African women are also in Thailand, in the other parts of Asia? So wherever there's a red light district, those hustling Nigerian madams or female pimps are basically dominating that area. They're even over in Thailand. So I'm sure you guys were not aware of that either. Now, if you've been there, you may have seen it, but I'm going to show you a little bit of clip of how a lot of African women are over in Thailand as well. So this particular vlogger did a a feature on that here. So let me show you. Oh yeah, and this Xiaozu said HIV Gina. Yep. And then Rehama says, I rebuke those coochies. Man, dude. Yeah, they need, I guess some holy water needs to be, they need to douche with some holy water or something. But check this out. This is in Thailand. So they even giving the Thailand hoes a run for the money, because some of the most popular 304s over there are apparently some of these African women, right? So I think they're even undercutting the native Thai women over there. But let's get it. So they're getting it in everywhere. And remember, like I showed you, the women who are the madams are typically those other African women. They control it in Africa and in Europe. And now you see this is footage from Thailand. And so they're up and down the streets of Thailand as well, getting busted down by the same Mzungus that they've been chasing in Europe as well as their homeland. So no matter where they're at, they be getting it in the same way. Who said holy water will not work? Yeah. Hey man, I'm just saying, man, they need to try something at this point. But yeah, you're probably right. It probably will start evaporating. The holy water will start boiling and evaporate if they try to use it at this point. And I guess this one is supposed to be like one of the most popular 304s there, but she's an African woman and she's apparently a 304 celebrity. Yeah, that's what this particular guy who made this video, that's what he says. I don't know, but apparently she's the Beyonce of the 304s over there. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not very clear on how a 304 becomes a superstar on the track. I mean, she must be known for some crazy stuff, man. For her to get the dubious honor of being and this is in Thailand, which is a world-class trick-off place, world-class, world-renowned for its whoredom, that she can stand out over there. So I guess this is black girl magic. I guess they are exceptional because she is beating the domestic Thai women in their own domestic whole game and she's able to outhold them in their own culture. Amazing. Yeah, she might be flatback, but that's what they like over there, bro. That's what they like. So a lot of the guys in Thailand, they like the flatbacks. So yeah, she right at home over there. So she came over there, I guess apparently from Africa, and in 3 years she became the 304 superstar over there. So these African women, they over there competing. They ain't competing to be wives. They ain't competing with that. They competing to be 304s, and they're winning. And look how she's looking back at the Muzungu, right? She must be from Kenya.
Whoa!
So he just making the goofy effects, but yeah, she was looking back at him first, and then he just happened to look back. But she was looking back before he was. But anyway, but yeah, he just got more footage of some of these girls out there on the stroll. Like I said, for those of you who are not aware, a lot of African women are over in these different countries dominating the 304 trade. They're being, just like you saw in the other clip. Yeah. Well, you think that's where she's from? She might be, but currently that's Thailand where she is. So she might be from Madagascar. I don't know, but she is over in Thailand, like a lot of them. You said a strag demon, but yeah. But so again, look who's over there dominating the whole stroll, and the women, like I showed you, that are the madams over there, are these other African women, i.e., the Nigerian women. So we're gonna get a little bit more of this before we wrap up. And they always, just like they are in Europe, they're always undercutting the price, just like what they were saying when they were over in Europe, how they were charging half. So they want you guys to pay the whole dowry, but make no mistake about it, some of these same women will be the same ones that double back and end up back like that other woman I showed you that had HIV and gave the guys 15 guys HIV. She was probably once on the stroll, and then she's quote dating, and then she still has that whole mentality talking about where you gotta give her something, but she's still bringing that used box, that diseased box, expecting something. These same women, unless they become madams themselves, they're gonna double back and then pretend like they just regular women. You're gonna be dealing with them, and they're gonna still be trying to get money out of you, but they want you to pay for a used and diseased box. That's the only difference. Some of them same women. But let's continue. See, I see more of them out than I see the native Thai women, right? So he said, and Ray Hammer says, dude, I'm still stuck on the locked coochies. Yeah, man, I told you, man, we ain't playing around over here. That's what they be doing, bro. And it's a thing over there. That's hey, I guess them things been used so much that they just lock up on them, right? It's like a kill switch. He's like, man, they didn't. It's like nature. It's like the biologically. It's like, man, she throwing this thing to the street so much, man. The body just shutting down on them. You know what I'm saying? They just getting rigor mortis of the coochie at that point because they just busting it down too much. The coochie just breaking down on them. It's crazy. But check this part out. Now, for some of you who said the other one was flat, I think that was you, Ray Hammer. You're talking about how the other one was a flat back, so this one got a little back for you. So I guess that's the one you would choose. You'd be like this guy right here, right? So there you go. So she got a nice little body, even though it's probably diseased. But if you want to bust it down, Ray, there you go. She got a little back for you. the old dudes, man. These Joe Biden age dudes just having a field day over there, right? And then he said, yeah, I see. Yeah, yeah, we're gonna show some more of her because it's gonna be a funny part of that I want you to check out, right? Um, they're gonna show another clip of her. So I want you to watch that. Hold on. Man, look at this Colonel Sanders looking dude, man. He having a field day over there running through all them African chicks, bro. He in Thailand, but he's still running through the African women. And Ray Hammer said, "Oh Lord, pencil legs, yeah." No, they're gonna show the other one you like again. So she coming back. You playing all that goofy music. Let me mute that. But oh yeah, no, I think there was a part. I think I had someone's comment on the screen, but I want you to see this part where this woman is. The guy is gonna look at her because there's some other dude that was looking at her. So let me show you this part real quick. Hold on. So this woman right here, right? Well, watch this. So if you see the captions. So that's the dude who made this video with all these goofy sound effects. But anyway, there was a part where it looks like dude had got jealous. Let me see if I got that part. Hold on. See if I can. I might have skipped it. Hold on. Just this little quick part I want you guys to see how them African women, they still be in danger because they be messing with these dudes that still be going upside their head and be jealous. Even though she a 304, dude look like he was still kind of jealous. So let me show you that. Hold on. He said this guy had the result last night. Hold on. It's another part. See if I can find it when they were walking. If I can't find it, it's cool. But yeah, essentially what it was there was a scene. There was another guy who was looking at her, and she was looking. She was giving the other guy eye contact, and the dude looked like he got. Yeah, I thought I had that part here. Let me see. If you notice on that particular stroll where they're in Thailand, then you see more of them African women out than the native Thai women. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, I don't feel like looking through it, but there was a part in the video where it looks like dude was ready to go upside her head. But yeah, it was kind of crazy. But anyway, let's see. I think I might have one more clip before we wrap up. Man, y'all be making me damn to do these 4 hour lives, man. It's crazy. But it's funny because it's like the later we go, it's like people start falling into the building. So I'm not sure why that is, but crazy. But anyway, let me see if there's another clip I want to hit before we wrap up. Because the last broadcast we went over 4 hours, and that was, I think, a record. So y'all lucky I kind of allocated a little time, even though I got something to do a little later, but because I'm in a different time zone, so I can get away with it. But let me go ahead and see what else I got for you guys here. But yeah, I think the point's been proven. We've shown that these women are in no position to be talking any type of trash against you guys' image. It's out of order. They're doing way too much. And yeah, it's just ridiculous. So yeah, it's a couple of things. You know what? I'll save those for the next installment, because like I said, we need to really be wrapping up. But yeah, so there you have it, guys. We're gonna end on that note, and to be continued, because we do have at least one more chapter in this 4-part series. We are gonna still revisit this topic about these African women and just Africans in general, and how they're talking a lot of crazy stuff. And it's unfortunate because, again, I don't necessarily have anything intrinsically against them, but if they're going to be talking crazy and just using propaganda, then we got to fight back. And a lot of you guys who don't have platforms don't, I'm the voice of the voiceless. And that's why I'm glad you guys are coming in, showing love, supporting, participating, because this is for you guys. I don't have a dog in the fight per se, but a lot of you who are younger, you're looking to try to maybe come up, start a family. You're trying to find out where to go. You need to know these things. So that's the reason why I'm putting in this work for you. And we appreciate you for, staying up this late, because I know some of you guys, it's in the wee hours of the night for you. It's still kind of early where I am, so I'm kind of, in a privileged position. But a lot of you guys who are up, and I don't know what time it is where you guys, some of you guys are maybe on the East Coast. I think maybe it's probably 2 a.m. or damn near 3 a.m. where you at. So shout out to you guys who are there. Some of my truckers, you guys who are up listening to it, shout out to you. I hope you got something out of it. Some of you guys have indicated you've never seen some of this stuff before, so shout out to you. This was for guys like you. Appreciate it. But yeah, there you go. So we did what we said we were gonna do. We brought some receipts. We let you guys know what's really going on and how you should not feel bad about any of these broads talking crazy. They don't have a leg to stand on, and we have proven that tonight. So, having said that, once again, thank you for coming out. It's been fire. We appreciate you once again. We will be here next week starting at 10 p.m. Central. Same time, same place, be in the building. Once again, we're not just a podcast, we're a Squadcast. Mission complete, over and out.